3861, 3861. Chapter 3861, A Tradition of Not-So-Bright Minds. A million divine dragons danced wildly, a grand spectacle. But to those used to such scenes, it failed to impress. Lin Moyu spoke loudly. Ancestral dragon, why be so flustered? You're not just one step away and the path you've chosen for resurrection is likely the wrong one. There was a hint of mockery in Lin Moyu's tone. He clearly looked down on, and even despised, the ancestral dragon's approach. The ancestral dragon's hoarse voice echoed, "Who are you? Why are you interfering in the affairs of our dragon clan?" Lin Moyu replied, "It wasn't my business, but your dragon clan provoked me, so I had to come. Besides, I'm interested in the dragon god tree, so I figured I'd clean things up while I'm here. To think, you, a dignified ancestral dragon, Tao Lord of the Yang Dragon Great Tao, would go so far as to devour the souls of your own kin just to survive. When I entered the dragon tomb years ago, your descendants still revered you, hoping you'd one day return to the world. Can you tell me why you did all this?" The ancestral dragon answered in a low voice, "You've entered the dragon tomb. You're from the origin continent." Suddenly, his voice sharpened. "No, if you entered the dragon tomb, why aren't you cursed?" The ancestral dragon was clearly very wary of the curse, even sounding a bit fearful. Lin Moyu said, "The curse you speak of polluted many dragon corpses in the tomb, but it didn't spread any further." Lin Moyu had paid attention to the curse in the dragon tomb. It did exist, but its spread was limited. Once a certain number of corpses were polluted, the curse stopped expanding. Now that most of the mutated dragon corpses had been cleared out, the curse seemed to have ended as well. Also, there were only corpses below the Great Tao realm in the tomb, none above that level. The ancestral dragon's voice came again. "How could this be? Why is it like this? Did I miscalculate? That shouldn't be." His voice was full of doubt, as if questioning himself. Lin Moyu's eyes flickered, and he suddenly asked, "Back then, when you split the dragon tomb in two, was it because you couldn't bear to part with the corpses above the Great Tao realm?" "Of course, those are treasures, they can help." The ancestral dragon abruptly stopped, realizing Lin Moyu was tricking him into talking. It was clear, the dragon clan's lack of cleverness was a tradition. Lin Moyu and the world-sealing Tao Lord couldn't help but glance at Antares. Antares snorted, "What's it got to do with me? I'm separated by who knows how many generations." Lin Moyu chuckled and continued, "Back then, after you returned cursed, knowing the curse was unsolvable, you split the dragon tomb before it could taint your soul. You left your body in the tomb with the lower realm dragons, letting the curse spread there. You abandoned your body, devoured the tomb of the higher realm dragons with your soul, and hid in the dragon god tree, hoping to one day rebuild your body and revive. Your body is different from its cultivators. It was born from the solar origin, so rebuilding it isn't easy. You didn't just devour the dragon corpses in the tomb, you also consumed the self-buried dragon gods here, but even that wasn't enough. You secretly placed restrictions on every divine dragon above the Great Tao realm, so you could control them when needed. I'm afraid over the years, you've secretly killed and devoured quite a few divine dragons, haven't you?" Everything Lin Moyu said was speculation, with no evidence. But from any perspective, it all made sense. After hearing Lin Moyu, the million divine dragons swirling in the sky suddenly stopped. A million giant jaws opened, and they roared in unison, "Who are you? How do you know all this?" The roar was deafening. Lin Moyu only responded with a cold laugh, "Looks like I was right." The world-sealing Tao Lord gave a thumbs up. "Impressive, you figured all that out. Anyone who crosses you is truly out of luck." Antares snorted, "Exactly. This kid's mind is so devious, it could hold the whole world see." Lin Moyu ignored them. "All right, I'll give you a chance. Tell me everything that happened in the wasteland, leave the dragon god tree, and split half your soul for me to control. I'll let you go and even help you rebuild your body." "Bullshit, I'll eat you." The ancestral dragon roared, and a million divine dragons charged at Lin Moyu. With his status, how could he possibly accept Lin Moyu's terms? Of course, Lin Moyu knew he'd refuse. If he agreed, he wouldn't be the ancestral dragon, he'd be a worm. The dragon clan's lack of cleverness and pride all started with him. As a million dragons charged, Lin Moyu simply snapped his fingers. In an instant, the undead legion surged forth like a tidal wave, outnumbering the dragons 10,000 to 1 and smashing them back. These dragons were all formed from branches of the dragon god tree, each with the power of a first-tier innate soul Great Tao realm, matching the Undead Legion. But in sheer numbers, the Undead Legion was overwhelming. A battle formation of over 10 billion undead easily repelled the million divine dragons. The ancestral dragon roared in fury, and the dragon god crown appeared, shining in the void. The defeated dragons regrouped, merging 10 into 1, turning a million into 100,000. The numbers dropped tenfold, but their power increased more than tenfold. All 100,000 dragons now reached the Tao Lord level. 100,000 Tao Lords. No place on the origin continent could muster even a tenth of that. But these were creations of the dragon god tree, they couldn't leave its range. The scarlet blood Tao spirit appeared on Lin Moyu's shoulder, unleashing a crimson tide that enveloped the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground. The newly formed 100,000 Tao Lord dragons had their auras plummet, dropping back to first-tier innate soul. Lin Moyu said calmly, "Don't bother struggling, it's useless. If you were sure you could kill me, you'd have done it already, not talked so much. I'll count to 10. My offer still stands. If you refuse, don't blame me for being ruthless." Lin Moyu began to count. The ancestral dragon roared, "Die!" The dragon god crown shone even brighter. In the light, lines of divine dragons appeared. These dragons were extremely powerful, each had the aura of a Tao Lord, but stronger than those created by the dragon god tree. It was the difference between branch Tao Lords and origin Tao Lords. Antares shouted, "Those are the past dragon gods." Each dragon god was the strongest of their era. Even though they were first-tier innate soul Great Tao realm, they were stronger than almost all others at that level. Some could even beat branch Tao Lords. With the dragon god crown, they were stronger than ordinary origin Tao Lords. The dragon god crown summoned the souls of past dragon gods. Each one opened its mouth and spat out a dragon pearl. At the same time, the dragon god tree split open, also spitting out dragon pearls. The ancestral dragon had the most 36 pearls. The other dragon gods had between 24 and 28. Among dragons, the number of dragon pearls is a mark of strength. Antares once had only 16, but after receiving one from the dragon god, and condensing more himself, he now had 22. The dragon pearls buzzed in the air, and the ones inside Antares began to resonate, trying to fly out of his body. Antares was in agony. Lin Moyu, sensing this, took out a dragon pearl, the one Lin Mohan had given Antares. 3862, 3862. Chapter 3862, Just the Death of an Ancestral Dragon. The dragon pearl Lin Mohan gave to Antares was incredibly powerful. Lin Moyu could sense the terrifying force within it, far stronger than the ancestral dragon's pearls. This dragon pearl didn't originate from the origin continent, its true source was unknown. Lin Mohan had only said it would be useful to Antares in the future, without specifying how. At this moment, Lin Moyu was struck by inspiration and took out the pearl. As soon as it appeared, it flew up on its own, unleashing waves of dragon roars. The terrifying pressure from the dragon roars instantly suppressed all the other dragon pearls. Not only the pearls, even the divine dragons swirling in the air fell silent under the pressure. The souls of the past dragon gods shrank back, clearly uneasy. The ancestral dragon roared, "What is that? Why is this happening?" His voice was full of fear of this dragon pearl. Under its pressure, the hundreds of dragon pearls in the air froze in place. The ancestral dragon couldn't even retrieve his own pearls. Not only that, his power was rapidly draining away. The souls of the dragon gods dimmed as their power was drawn out of the pearls, and they were on the verge of disappearing completely. The ancestral dragon's power also ebbed away, his aura dropping steadily. No matter how he struggled, he couldn't reclaim his pearls. The ancestral dragon was utterly terrified. Without his pearls, he would lose almost all his power. All his efforts would be for nothing. Not only would he fail to revive, but he would die for sure. "Spare me. I agree to your terms, just spare me." Faced with death, even the ancestral dragon could only yield. Heroic resolve may exist, but it's rare among Tao Lords, and even among great Tao realm cultivators. Those who can live forever rarely choose to die willingly. If those Tao Lords and great Tao cultivators Lin Moyu killed before had a chance to beg for mercy, they wouldn't have given up either. Unfortunately, Lin Moyu never gave them that chance, just as he wasn't giving the ancestral dragon one now. Seeing Lin Moyu unmoved, the ancestral dragon turned to Antares. "You are my descendant, please, beg your friend to spare me." Antares felt a strange emotion stir. The ancestral dragon's words did move him a little. Sensing Antares' hesitation, Lin Moyu said, "Now you want to play the emotional card. Too late. You're the Tao Lord of the Yang Dragon Great Tao, which is why every dragon god of your clan could only rely on the Dragon God crown to wield Tao Lord level power. The implication: only if the ancestral dragon dies does Antares have a chance to become a Tao Lord. The temptation of becoming a Tao Lord was immense. Combined with everything that had happened, Antares' brief hesitation was quickly wiped away. Antares said, "Ancestral dragon, you've done many things you shouldn't have. Please, go in peace." The ancestral dragon roared, "Don't you know that if I fall, the dragon clan will be finished?" Lin Moyu immediately retorted, "No, it won't. Your dragon pearls will be absorbed if Antares refines them, he'll become the new ancestral dragon, and even stronger than you. Don't forget what I told you before, trust me." Antares understood instantly and whispered, "I trust you." Between the ancestral dragon and Lin Moyu, Antares decisively chose Lin Moyu. The ancestral dragon was completely desperate. He roared, "If that's how it is, then let's die together." The dragon god tree writhed, its branches merging into a single terrifying divine dragon, with the dragon god crown flying onto its head, making it even stronger. The divine dragon slashed at the sky, as if to shatter the great Tao itself. This was the ancestral dragon's strongest attack beyond the Tao Lord level. Lin Moyu shouted, his body radiating divine brilliance as 10,000 skeleton kings appeared behind him. Origin spell. Power gathering. Origin spell. Strengthening the army. Great Tao divine ability. Divine strength. Great Tao divine ability. Life or death. Origin spells and divine abilities were unleashed together. The sword Tao spirit appeared in his hand, transforming into a Tao sword. Lin Moyu gathered all his power, enveloped the sword in death force, and slashed fiercely. 10,000 skeleton kings raised their swords in unison, their sword light illuminating the world. Great Tao spell. Bone blood sword. The sword light was dazzling. Lin Moyu was blasted backward, covered in wounds, his body nearly destroyed. The skeleton kings exploded like fireworks, their bodies shattered. But the ancestral dragon fared no better. The divine dragon he had become was nearly cut in half. After this blow, the ancestral dragon's aura plummeted, his dragon pearl's power constantly drained. He could never unleash such an attack again. Lin Moyu slowly flew back, his wounds healing rapidly. With the power Great Tao and the aid of the force of life, such injuries would heal in no time. Lin Moyu asked, "Are you still going to struggle?" The ancestral dragon seemed to accept his fate. He said, "You win. I know I'll die, but I have a request." Lin Moyu replied, "Speak. If I can, I'll do it." The ancestral dragon said, "After I die, please go to the dragon tomb and see if my body is still the Rhea. If I die, my body should vanish. If it's still the Rhea." Lin Moyu frowned, "If your body is still there, it means the curse remains." The ancestral dragon said, "Yes. If my body remains, it may mutate and cause great trouble for the world." Lin Moyu said, "The dragon tomb isn't in this space, he may not be able to find it." The ancestral dragon said, "He'll find it. My body contains memories of this world, it will find its way here. This is my last wish, please, go and check for me, will you?" His voice grew weak, his tone sincere. Lin Moyu said, "Can you be more specific? Even if your body mutates, it's just a Tao Lord, nothing hard to handle." The ancestral dragon replied, "It's not that simple. The curse's real target isn't me. You said the curse stopped spreading, I think something went wrong." Lin Moyu felt the situation was growing more complicated, there seemed to be many secrets. The ancestral dragon said, "That's just my feeling, I can't explain it. The dragon god crown contains my experiences after entering the wasteland. You can look at it, maybe you'll find answers. You must go to the dragon tomb. That's my last request." Lin Moyu said nothing, neither agreeing nor refusing. He wasn't sure if the ancestral dragon was telling the truth, or if this was a trap. People say the dying speak kindly, but Lin Moyu didn't believe it. He doubted everything, always considering if there was a pit to fall into. Maybe he'd go to the dragon tomb, maybe not. The ancestral dragon sighed and said no more. As the power of the dragon pearls was drained, all 36 pearls shattered and turned to dust. The dragon pearl Lin Mohan gave returned to Lin Moyu's hand. He summoned the world-burning fire and baked the pearl, making sure there was no soul residue before tossing it to Antares. Once you become a Tao Lord, refining it should yield results. Antares took the pearl in a daze. Oh, with the ancestral dragon dead, Antares felt something missing inside, a loss in his bloodline. Not just him, but all dragons would feel it. The ancestral dragon was dead, their bloodline's source was cut off. Seeing Antares staring blankly, Lin Moyu sighed. Don't space out, get to work. Antares looked confused. Do what? Lin Moyu said, Dragon Soul Crystal, of course. Be normal, it's just the death of an ancestral dragon, nothing to fuss about. 3863. 3863. Chapter 3863, The Ancestral Dragon's Memory. Antares finally snapped out of it. Right, the Dragon Soul Crystal. He quickly took out the Dragon Soul Crystal, already an 11-colored Dragon Soul Crystal, shining brilliantly. There's a legend among the Dragon Clan. If a Dragon Soul Crystal ever reaches 12 colors, it will transform into a terrifying divine dragon that will devour all dragons, even the ancestral dragon himself. No one knows where this legend came from, but it's always been passed down in the Dragon Clan. As the former Crown Prince, Antares knew more about the Dragon Soul Crystal than most. The Dragon Soul Crystal can purify soul power, making the Dragon Clan's already powerful souls even more refined, which is why dragons are unmatched among peers of the same realm. Unfortunately, even the purest soul is useless against a freak like Lin Moyu. Being invincible in the same realm doesn't help when you're outnumbered. There's another secret about the Dragon Soul Crystal that only a few know. Most dragons believe the Dragon Soul Crystal maxes out at 9 colors, and that 12 colors is just a myth. But Antares knew that the Dragon Soul Crystal can indeed surpass 9 colors. Once it reaches 11 colors but not yet 12, it gains a new function, devouring the Dragon God Tree. To become the Dragon God, a dragon must be recognized by the Dragon God Tree. If you have an 11-colored Dragon Soul Crystal, refine it first, then use it to devour the Dragon God Tree. You become the tree itself. Naturally, you become the next Dragon God, even if there's already one in place, the succession happens automatically. Not even the ancestral dragon can change this rule. Within the Dragon Clan, the Dragon God Tree holds a special status. It's a holy tree, as revered as the ancestral dragon himself. Now that the ancestral dragon has fallen, Antares, having already refined the Dragon Soul Crystal, can devour the Dragon God Tree. With the Dragon God Crown as well, Antares will become the new Dragon God, and may even become an existence similar to the ancestral dragon. Antares got to work. The Dragon Soul Crystal transformed into a divine dragon and began devouring the Dragon God Tree. Lin Moyu swung his Dao sword, slicing off a large chunk of the Dragon God Tree and tossing it to the world-sealing Dao Lord. After all, the world-sealing Dao Lord had contributed greatly to the success of this affair. How could he not get a share of the spoils? The world-sealing Dao Lord said, I only wanted the Dragon God Tree to trick out you. It's useless to me. Lin Moyu replied, try soaking it in wine. It might have a miraculous effect. Soaking it in wine. The world-sealing Dao Lord's eyes lit up, and he immediately put the Dragon God Tree branch away. If it could be used for wine, it was a true treasure. Earlier, the ancestral dragon said his experiences in the wasteland were all stored in the Dragon God Crown, but Lin Moyu didn't check it himself. Instead, he sent a phantom body to do it. If anything went wrong, it wouldn't affect his true self. The phantom body took the Dragon God Crown and activated it, receiving a stream of information from within. Once the phantom body confirmed there were no issues, it transmitted the information to Lin Moyu. This way, Lin Moyu could be sure the information was 100% safe. A strange scene appeared before his eyes, the ancestral dragon's experiences in the wasteland. The land was barren, the ground an eerie crimson, radiating a peculiar aura. Lin Moyu immediately thought of the Scarlet Blood Dao spirit. The color was identical. The strange aura was the Scarlet Blood Great Dao's aura, capable of polluting anything. Could this be where the Great Dao beasts live? Lin Moyu wondered. In the Soul Void, Great Dao beasts were only souls. He never knew what kind of environment they lived in. If Great Dao beasts lived in such a place, it would make sense that they carried a curse. If the curse comes from the Scarlet Blood Great Dao, that's easier to handle. But it probably isn't that simple. Lin Moyu thought of the mutated dragon corpses he'd seen in the dragon tomb. There had to be more to it. The scene moved. After arriving in the wasteland, the ancestral dragon began to act. He flew slowly, scanning the surroundings, clearly cautious and unfamiliar with the area, likely his first time there. Soon, a pink mist appeared in his field of vision, and the ancestral dragon flew toward it. He didn't get too close, just observed from a distance. Suddenly, with a roar, a great Dao beast burst out of the pink mist and charged at the ancestral dragon. A fierce battle broke out, but the ancestral dragon was weaker than expected and was suppressed by the great Dao beast. Lin Moyu realized this was because the ancestral dragon was too far from the origin continent. The young dragon Great Dao's power couldn't reach him, so he couldn't use his full strength. The great Dao beast's power was even greater than an ordinary Dao lord's, so the ancestral dragon was no match. Lin Moyu saw the true form of the great Dao beast during the fight. Its general appearance was similar to what he'd seen in the Soul Void, but its physical body had differences. It was clearly extremely powerful, covered in countless small holes that constantly released pink mist. When the ancestral dragon's attacks touched the mist, they were greatly weakened. The mist was also highly polluting. When the ancestral dragon touched it, his body was visibly contaminated, turning pink on the surface. Once covered in pink, his power seemed sealed and could barely be used. This alone gave the great Dao beast a huge advantage. Lin Moyu realized that great Dao beasts with physical bodies were much harder to deal with than their soul forms in the Soul Void. Seeing he was outmatched, the ancestral dragon tried to flee, but the great Dao beast chased him relentlessly. The mist turned into chains, slowing him down. The ancestral dragon used a secret technique to speed up and escape the mist, but before he could relax, more mist appeared from all directions, and countless great Dao beasts surrounded him. Lin Moyu could clearly feel the ancestral dragon's utter despair at that moment. He tried to escape the Lord of Hell's pursuit, only to end up in this nightmare. The great Dao beasts only surrounded him at first, not attacking. After a while, several giant great Dao beasts arrived. Great Dao beast kings. Lin Moyu immediately recognized them. Among them, the leader was the largest, even bigger than the beast kings, with distinct features. The moment he saw it, Lin Moyu recognized its identity. That's the great Dao beast emperor. He never expected to witness the great Dao beast emperor through the ancestral dragon's memory. This eternal level being radiated a pressure the ancestral dragon could hardly bear. His soul and body trembled uncontrollably. The beast emperor had 4 pairs of eyes on its head, staring coldly at the ancestral dragon. 2 beams of light shot out, striking the ancestral dragon. Startled, the ancestral dragon coughed up blood and instantly vanished. The memory ended there. Beside him, the world-sealing Dao Lord commented, "Lin Daoist, you really are cautious." Lin Moyu replied, "It was the ancestral dragon, after all, better safe than sorry." The world-sealing Dao Lord said, "Indeed, caution is the parent of safety. Mind letting me see that segment too?" With a thought, Lin Moyu had the phantom body transmit the information to the world-sealing Dao Lord as well. 3864, 3864. Chapter 3864, The New Ancestral Dragon. After reading the information, the world-sealing Dao Lord's expression clearly changed. Where exactly did the ancestral dragon go? And what were those monsters? Lin Moyu said, "The wasteland. Those creatures are called great Dao beasts." The world-sealing Dao Lord looked at Lin Moyu. "You've seen them?" Lin Moyu nodded. "I've seen them in the Soul Void, and I've killed a few." The world-sealing Dao Lord clicked his tongue. "It seems Lin friend has seen more and more things. I thought I could talk to you about some other matters, but it seems you might already know." Lin Moyu caught the deeper meaning in his words. "Once this is over, let's find another place to talk." The world-sealing Dao Lord smiled and nodded. The dragon soul crystal was still devouring the dragon god tree, a process that would take some time. But at this moment, Antares' aura was already rising. The dragon soul crystal was his, and as it devoured the dragon god tree, his power grew. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before Antares broke through the great Dao realm and achieved Dao Lord status. He was of pure dragon blood. If not for past accidents, he would have been the next dragon god. Now, with the ancestral dragon fallen and the young dragon great Dao's Dao Lord position vacant, Antares' succession was only natural. Suddenly, Lin Moyu looked up, his gaze piercing the great Dao to a distant place. "Someone's coming, I'll handle it." The world-sealing Dao Lord followed Lin Moyu's gaze and chuckled, "Go on, don't leave any loose ends." Lin Moyu said, "I always finish things cleanly." He unfurled the wings of the time curse, shooting out like he was teleporting. Time flowed, accelerating Lin Moyu. In a flash, he left the young dragon great Dao. A few flickers through the void, and within just 10 breaths, Lin Moyu arrived at his destination. A towering tree stood in the void. Upon seeing Lin Moyu, the tree vanished, transforming into an old man in a blue robe. Lin Moyu frowned. "Withering and flourishing elder, I remember saying I don't like people who wear blue robes." Withering and Flourishing Elder's expression changed, and his clothes instantly turned gray. He bowed to Lin Moyu. Withering and Flourishing greets Lin friend. Lin Moyu smiled faintly, so polite, not planning to settle old scores. Withering and Flourishing Elder shook his head. Lin friend, please don't joke. Everything before was my fault. I'm here specifically to apologize. Please be magnanimous. Lin Moyu replied, and if I'm not? Withering and Flourishing Elder gave a series of bitter laughs. Then however Lin friend wants me to atone, I'll do my best. Lin Moyu scrutinized him, making the old man very uncomfortable. After a few moments, Lin Moyu waved his hand. Forget it. Since you've said so, let's leave it at that. Withering and Flourishing Elder's face lit up with joy. Really? Lin Moyu said, before I change my mind, you'd better disappear. Withering and Flourishing Elder bowed again. Thank you for your magnanimity, Lin friend. He turned and quickly vanished. Returning to the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, the world-sealing Tao Lord chuckled, didn't expect you to let him go. Lin Moyu said, Withering and Flourishing is nothing to me. Whether he lives or dies doesn't matter. I'm in a good mood, so let's say he got lucky. To him, Withering and Flourishing Elder was like an ant. Even if he became a Tao Lord, he'd just be a bigger ant. Since the old man had come to apologize so humbly, Lin Moyu let it go. The world-sealing Tao Lord glanced at Antares. Looks like he still needs some time. Why don't we drink while we wait? He waved his hand, producing a large table covered with simple snacks and several jars of wine. No matter when, he was always a wine lover. The two drank and chatted, sharing stories from recent years. Lin Moyu recounted some of his experiences, some things he could say, some he couldn't, and he was careful about what he shared. The world-sealing Tao Lord also spoke about what he'd done over the past 1,000 years. After becoming a Tao Lord, he too received a destiny. His destiny was to set up formations, but where and what kind of formations was not specified. Lin Moyu could hear some reservations in his words and had some guesses. According to the world-sealing Tao Lord, the formation he set up was the strongest of his life, taking over 800 years. During that time, he could barely spare any attention to help Lin Moyu. Luckily, he suppressed those outer great Tao guys on his own. Only after his destiny ended did he help Lin Moyu and trick the dragon clan. Half a day later, the dragon god tree was finally completely devoured. At this moment, Antares' aura reached its peak. When the dragon soul crystal, now transformed into a divine dragon, returned to his body, the peak shattered with a boom. Antares threw his head back and let out a dragon roar that swept through the entire formation. All surviving dragons within the Yang Dragon Great Tao heard Antares' voice. They saw his projection cast into the void, filling the Great Tao. The void left by the ancestral dragon's death was filled. Antares became the new ancestral dragon, once again the source of the dragon clan. All dragon clan members prostrated themselves, welcoming the new ancestral dragon and dragon god. In the projection, the dragon god crown flew onto Antares' head, and behind him, the dragon god tree flickered in and out of sight. Antares' voice echoed in every dragon's ear. The dragon clan must break to stand anew. From now on, all dragons must unite, no more infighting. Those who disobey will be cut down. Obey the dragon god's decree. All members of the dragon clan responded in unison. Antares' aura gradually stabilized. He had already ascended to Tao Lord, though the refining process continued, and he would keep growing stronger for some time. How does it feel? Lin Moyu asked with a smile. Antares nodded. It feels great. So the dragon god tree was the ancestral dragon's companion tree. It actually existed before the ancestral dragon. After devouring the dragon god tree with the dragon soul crystal, Antares learned some of its secrets. Back when the solar origin gave birth to the ancestral dragon, the first thing born was actually the dragon god tree. The ancestral dragon was born on the tree, and the dragon god crown was born alongside him. So the true origin of the dragon clan wasn't the ancestral dragon, but the dragon god tree. After merging with the dragon god tree, Antares became the new source of the dragon clan. With the dragon god crown, he could now unleash power beyond that of an origin Tao Lord. If he fully refined the dragon god tree, his power could even rival the Lord of Hell in his prime. Lin Moyu studied Antares, frowning as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. Antares said, "Don't make that face. If you have something to say, just say it." Lin Moyu glanced at the world-sealing Tao Lord. "Let's talk somewhere else." With a wave, he set up a formation to shield the three of them. Several elemental liches appeared in their true forms to guard them. Lin Moyu said, "Let's take a trip to the Soul Void." Inside the Soul Void, Lin Moyu released a massive number of skeleton generals to quickly locate Antares and the world-sealing Tao Lord. The skeleton generals led them out of the origin continent, into the world beyond. After traveling a while, Lin Moyu finally stopped. "Here, the world will can't sense us. Say whatever you want. Senior, how did you learn of the existence of the world will?" 3865, 3865. Chapter 3865. If you have something to say, just say it. Previously, the world-sealing Tao Lord's hesitant demeanor had already revealed a lot. He must have sensed the existence of the world will, but inside the world itself, he couldn't speak of it openly. The world-sealing Tao Lord said, "Lin friend, you really do know of its existence." "Let me start, then. Back then, I followed my destiny and went to set up a formation. The location was in the Soul Void, just outside the mist." At this, Lin Moyu knew his guess had been right. The mist was where the world's origin core was located, the most important region for the world will. Even before fully recovering, the world will had already thought to protect its core, showing how much it valued that place. It could also be inferred that during the origin catastrophe, that region had been attacked, making the world will extremely cautious ever since. As the #1 formation master on the origin continent, the world-sealing Tao Lord was naturally chosen by destiny to set up a formation. The world-sealing Tao Lord continued, "At the time, I received a formation diagram. I followed it to set up the formation and found it to be the strongest formation I'd ever seen. And, outside the mist, there were already remnants of a formation, meaning someone had tried to set up this formation before but failed. As I was setting up the formation, I studied the remnants and discovered some hidden information within them. You'd never guess who tried to set up this formation before and failed." He looked at Lin Moyu and Antares. Antares shook his head. How could we possibly guess? He was still half in the dark, not fully understanding what the world-sealing Tao Lord meant. Lin Moyu said, "If I'm not mistaken, it was someone from the Buddhist clan." The world-sealing Tao Lord froze, blurting out, "How did you know?" Lin Moyu smiled, "Just a guess. Please continue. What did you learn?" The world-sealing Tao Lord said, "He was the formation Tao Lord of the previous era. Unfortunately, his formation skills weren't enough to complete the formation, and in the end, he died because of it." Lin Moyu sneered, "Couldn't finish the formation and got killed. Tao Lords really are like ants." The world-sealing Tao Lord nodded in agreement. He sensed his impending death, so he left some information in the formation remnants. "That's how I learned that our world actually has a world will." Lin Moyu said, "And then you finished setting up the formation." The world-sealing Tao Lord sounded a little helpless. "Of course, I was following destiny. If I didn't finish, I'd be the one to die. But while setting up the formation, I kept studying it and came to a conclusion." Antares couldn't help asking, "What conclusion?" The world-sealing Tao Lord said quietly, "This formation has two functions, defense and absorption. Even though I set it up in the Soul Void, the formation can, through special means, affect the real world. In other words, it's a formation that works in both the virtual and real worlds. It can defend against attacks from both realms at the same time. The absorption function is even more terrifying. It's hidden deep within the formation, but I still found it. The formation can absorb the power of all living beings on the origin continent to fuel its defense. When running at full power, it could even drain everyone on the origin continent, including Tao Lords." Antares' soul shuddered. "That terrifying." Lin Moyu said, "The world will controls our true spirit marks. Using those, and this formation, it can control the life and death of every living being in the world. All living beings including snakes, insects, rats, ants. To the world will, we cultivators are no different from bugs, just a bit stronger, with a bit more power, so we can be drained a bit longer. And even if it doesn't drain us now, when it tries to become eternal, it will sacrifice us all anyway." The world-sealing Tao Lord said quietly, "I don't want to die, but I can't think of a way out. So I came to you, Lin friend, and you didn't disappoint." Lin Moyu sighed, "It's complicated, but I'm working on it." Lin Moyu shared some information about the world will with the world-sealing Tao Lord. When the Tao Lord heard that the world will had already tried to break through to eternity, but was forced back into slumber by Lin Moyu's arrangements, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At the time, he really had felt like his end was near, a feeling that came from deep in his soul and terrified him. Lin Moyu said, "The world will is cunning." It made two preparations, not only trying to break through to eternity, but also preparing for failure. It was afraid someone would attack while it was vulnerable, so it set up this formation to use the world's power to resist outsiders. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's expression changed. "Wait, there's a problem." Antares asked, "What is it?" Lin Moyu said, "The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors said it would sleep for 10,000 years, but they didn't know about this formation. If the formation absorbed part of the attack, the world will's slumber will be shortened." The world-sealing Tao Lord asked quietly, "How much shorter?" Lin Moyu said, "It depends on the formation's strength. I'd have to see it to know, but I can't go now, and I'm guessing you don't know the way either." The world-sealing Tao Lord replied, "Right, I was teleported there, so I don't know the exact location. But I have a way." He immediately drew a divine rune and set up a formation, which projected an image. Within the projection, the formation appeared. Lin Moyu smiled, "You really came prepared, senior. To project an image from so far away, aren't you afraid of being discovered?" The world-sealing Tao Lord said quietly, "He can't detect it. It's a built-in function of the formation, probably left by its creator. He only got the formation diagram, and doesn't know all its abilities. Now, the formation has been activated and absorbed vast energy, reaching its limit. To further increase its defense, it would have to absorb the power of living beings from the world." Lin Moyu said, "At the time, the world must have realized that even absorbing all the living beings' power wouldn't be enough to withstand the two emperors. And since things hadn't reached the worst point, it didn't activate the absorption. This formation did block part of the attack." After checking, Lin Moyu estimated that the Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperor's attack was reduced by about half. 10,000 years of slumber definitely wouldn't be enough, at most, 5,000 years. 5,000 years is long, but not that long. He didn't know how long his next plans would take. 5,000 years might not be enough. If necessary, he'd have to ask the emperors for help again, but the cost would only be higher. After thinking it over, Lin Moyu shared his plans with the world-sealing Tao Lord, asking him to find a suitable world like the third ancestor. As for Antares, Lin Moyu couldn't decide for the moment. Antares muttered, "I told you, don't make that face. If you have something to say, just say it." 3866. 3866. Chapter 3866, Opening a Path. "Your situation is a bit troublesome." Antares' current state left Lin Moyu somewhat at a loss. Lin Moyu had considered making Antares the new dragon god, even the Tao Lord of the Young Dragon Great Tao, but he had never planned for Antares to become the new ancestral dragon. Now, Antares' ties to the origin continent were too deep, making any attempt to sever them much more difficult. If he could obtain the Shidian Stone and the Immortal Jade, Antares could fake his death once his realm would drop, but he'd survive. But now, Antares had become the new ancestral dragon, and the ancestral dragon was the very first being born of this era's world. The effect of the Shidian Stone would be greatly diminished unless Antares was willing to pay a much higher price. But doing so would inflict severe harm, and even with spirit flowers, he might not recover, or, with bad luck, he could even die. This was the source of Lin Moyu's headache. This step was outside his original plan. Antares, however, seemed unconcerned. "I thought it was something serious. What's the big deal? At worst, I'll just die once." Lin Moyu pondered for a moment but couldn't think of a good solution. "First, refine that dragon pearl. There's still time, maybe something will change. I'll keep asking around, see if there's another way. There's always a sliver of hope in this world. No matter how hard, there's always a way." At this point, all they could do was take things one step at a time and ask the discernment beast for advice next time. Lin Moyu also had a feeling that the dragon pearl his sister brought had more potential. Maybe it would bring a miracle. He returned to the origin continent and said goodbye to Antares. The dragon clan had much to rebuild, and Antares was busy. Lin Moyu also had his own matters to attend to. The world-sealing Tao Lord left the origin continent to search for a suitable world. According to Lin Moyu's plan, he would become the lord of a world, but he had to find it himself. The third ancestor and others had already found worlds suited to them, so he didn't want to fall behind. Lin Moyu returned to the origin continent and spent a few days in Yudao City with Little Mist and the others. He didn't know how long it would be before he returned, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Most likely, the next time he came back, it would be for a life and death battle. The formation the world-sealing Tao Lord set up for the world will made Lin Moyu feel a sense of crisis. While he was making his moves, the world will seem to be preparing as well. If the world will use the formation to absorb the world's living beings, then even if Lin Moyu won, the cost would be too great. There were only two ways to solve this. 1. Act swiftly and give the world will no chance to activate the formation. 2. Destroy the formation, but it was so advanced, he wasn't capable of it yet. During the days Lin Moyu stayed in Yudao City, the outer Great Tao was in chaos. Blood flowed and heads rolled. The Hell Alliance's experts had all been killed by Lin Moyu, and the various forces once suppressed by the Hell Alliance now emerged, mercilessly wiping out its remnants. The Hell Alliance had always been overbearing, making countless enemies. Now that the tree had fallen, the monkeys scattered, everyone fled for their lives. Whether they survived depended on their luck. Compared to the outer Great Tao, the origin continent was much more peaceful. Perhaps because Lin Moyu was present, and everyone feared heavenly punishment, all who entered the origin continent behaved themselves. No one dared act recklessly or damage the continent. In the core of the central continent, where Lin Moyu had sat for 1,000 years, his murderous aura condensed into a resting avatar. As long as he was there, no one dared cause trouble. Lin Moyu alone suppressed the entire world. Though he wasn't a Tao Lord, in most people's eyes, he was already the world's strongest. A month later, Lin Moyu quietly left the origin continent. This time, he didn't enter the soul void, but the real world. He reached the edge of the world and saw the world mist. In the soul void, there was chaotic mist. In the real world, it was the world mist. The two were similar, yet fundamentally different. The world mist was also filled with great Taos, which originated from the origin ancestral land and radiated through both the real and virtual worlds. But the great Tao power in the world mist wasn't chaotic. So long as the great Tao you cultivated existed there, you could use it at will. However, their distribution was uneven, different areas contained different Taos. Not long after entering the world mist, Lin Moyu arrived in a region where the effects of the Fate Great Tao were greatly weakened because the Fate Great Tao didn't exist there. After flying further, the Space Great Tao was suppressed, but the Fate Great Tao returned. Different regions suited different cultivators. Lin Moyu mused, if you want to fight here, do you have to find a place suited to your Tao? But no matter the region, the immortality, time, and power Great Taos could always be used freely, completely unaffected. This rule was the same as in the soul void. Any Tao that had entered the origin ancestral land could be used anywhere. As he moved farther from the origin continent, Lin Moyu's aura only grew stronger. Soon, he reached the peak of first-tier innate soul, his body rumbling as if about to break through. In truth, Lin Moyu could have become a Tao Lord long ago, but he didn't want to do it on the origin continent. He knew that breaking through could trigger phenomena and draw the world will's attention. Even if the world will was asleep, he didn't want to risk it. Now, far from the origin continent, he released his restraints, letting his world grow stronger and himself surge toward the Tao Lord realm. To Lin Moyu, the Tao Lord title was just an empty concept. He didn't need it. He was the master of his own world. If he wished, he could be the Tao Lord of every great Tao in his world. For him, Tao Lord was just a measure of strength, a common label. He had already walked a path completely different from others. Even the top world lords, like the human emperor, achieved their Tao through a specific great Tao or a powerful world. But Lin Moyu had created a world entirely his own, with rules different from anywhere else. In his world, nothing was subject to the limits of heaven and earth. If anything was truly defying the heavens, his myriad worlds were even more so than his elemental liches. No matter what lies ahead, even if there's no road, I'll carve a new one. Open the path. Break through. Lin Moyu's heart was resolute. The myriad worlds released all restraints and broke through with a roar. In an instant, wind and clouds surged, immense power swept from the myriad worlds, scattering the surrounding world mist. The great Taos were also driven away, leaving a vacuum around Lin Moyu. The shadow of the myriad worlds appeared beneath his feet. 3867. 3867. Chapter 3867, Severing the Great Tao. Standing atop the myriad worlds, all living beings submit. Lin Moyu felt the endless power transmitted from the countless beings of the myriad worlds. He was very familiar with this power in the great world. It was called the power of faith, On the origin continent, the Buddhist clan called it incense, and some called it belief. The names varied, but they were all the same thing. This power comes from all living things, from the deep dependence, worship, and attachment that countless beings feel toward their Creator, their Lord. Most of the time, the billions of living beings don't even realize they have such thoughts. These notions are buried deep in their souls, indelible and eternal. From the smallest ant to the most defiant cultivator, all harbor such feelings. Within the myriad worlds, all living beings provided Lin Moyu with a continuous stream of power. This power had nothing to do with cultivation, but Lin Moyu could use it whenever he needed. This is what it means to be lord of a world. Lin Moyu marveled inwardly. The world lord he'd seen in the Jumu Great Spirit domain was fundamentally different from what he was now. At the very least, that kind of wondrous power of faith did not exist for the world lords of the Jumu Great Spirit domain. Those world lords were only so in name, nominally the life of the world. But he was the true lord of a world, able to change and control the entire world. The myriad worlds were created by him. That was the essential difference. As the myriad worlds continued to evolve, its power ceiling rapidly increased. Lin Moyu sensed its growing strength, but also clearly saw its shortcomings. Compared to a world like the origin continent, the myriad worlds was still like a newborn child. If compared, it was about equal to the origin continent during the insect race era. The will of the myriad worlds had already formed, but was still in the gestation stage. As the myriad worlds grew stronger, Lin Moyu's power also ascended. One by one, great Taos appeared. Lin Moyu, by a flash of insight, realized he was about to choose one to become its Tao Lord. A cultivator can become the Tao Lord of multiple great Taos, but upon first becoming a Tao Lord, one must choose a single Tao, and others can be added later. But Lin Moyu's path was different. He had planned for this in advance. With a thought, the time, space, power, fate, and thousand stars great Taos all five were merged into the myriad worlds. At the same time, Tao marks in Lin Moyu's soul lit up. All the Tao marks he'd ever condensed reappeared, merging together with the five great Taos into the myriad worlds. Sever the Tao. Lin Moyu made up his mind and gave a low shout. Boom! His body trembled violently, and searing pain erupted in his soul. He was going to sever all five great Taos and merge them into the myriad worlds. These five Taos came from this heaven and earth, from the origin ancestral land. Once merged into the myriad worlds, they would be stripped of their original imprint and become the Taos of the myriad worlds. Lin Moyu would lose these five Taos, but only temporarily. Once the myriad worlds matured enough, he could reclaim their power. At that point, not just these five, but all Taos in the myriad worlds would be his to use. As for the immortality great Tao, Lin Moyu intentionally kept it as his link to this world. For now, he was still a person of this world. The myriad worlds wasn't strong enough yet, so he needed to retain the immortality Tao. In the future, it too would be merged into the myriad worlds. Step by step, Lin Moyu was deliberate and thoughtful, knowing exactly where he was heading. The stabbing pain in his soul continued. Severing a great Tao was like cutting the soul itself, a pain few could endure. Lin Moyu's whole body trembled, cold sweat soaking him. At his level, he had perfect control over his body, so sweating meant he couldn't control it at all. He could only barely stay conscious and not faint. His soul was covered in countless cracks, as if it would shatter at any moment. The world tree swayed, golden and silver sap swirling, spirit flowers exploding and mixing with the sap to pour over his soul, easing the pain. Little tree appeared at his soul's side, shouting, "Chaos Child." From the tree's roots, Chaos Child shot back, shouting, "Here, don't worry, he'll be fine." Their voices reached Lin Moyu's ears, but he was in no state to respond. Severing the Taos required total focus. Even he couldn't multitask. Chaos Child sprayed a torrent of chaotic energy, and together with Little Tree, helped ease Lin Moyu's pain. It worked. Lin Moyu felt the pain lessen, and the pace of severing the Taos quickened. The power of the Taos left his soul and merged into the myriad worlds, where these Taos rapidly became perfected. Of the five, the Space Great Tao was the most perfect, since the Space Tao spirit had once merged its own heavenly Tao into it. Now, the Space Great Tao changed again, with Lin Moyu's imprint becoming even clearer. All the Taos in the myriad worlds roared. Though each was different, at the end of every Tao appeared the same imprint, Lin Moyu's own mark. Each Tao mark entered the myriad worlds and exploded, infusing Lin Moyu's Tao insights and further perfecting the world. At the edge of the myriad worlds, a multitude of light points appeared, independent worlds outside the grand, middle, and small worlds. These were derived from the thousand stars' great Tao, and each had its own unique system. Their emergence made the myriad worlds even richer. Lin Moyu understood that the evolution of the myriad worlds was also a process of perfecting himself. The stronger the world, the more perfect it became. The world was a complex system, far more intricate than it appeared. While he could set many rules as World Lord, he couldn't go too far, or chaos would result. The process of merging the Taos was also a process of Lin Moyu's deepening mastery and understanding of the myriad worlds. He felt he was now standing at a higher vantage point, able to see the world's changes more clearly, and thus gained a deeper understanding of the current heaven and earth. When all 5 great Taos were gone, Lin Moyu's soul aura plummeted, dropping from its peak to the bottom. In an instant he nearly fell below the great Tao realm. With the Taos gone, his soul's cultivation naturally collapsed. At this moment, the myriad worlds opened a gap, and a unique aura blending all the Taos entered his soul. The bone hell also boiled, its aura merging into his soul as well. His soul's aura began to rise again just as quickly as it had fallen. It recovered, soon returning to its former level. Lin Moyu was inspired, muttering, "The great Tao has yin and yang, so does the world. The myriad worlds are yang, bone hell is yin, and the world tree is the channel. Let yin and yang meet. One more region is needed, to hold both yin and yang. Little tree, lend me a hand." Little tree answered, and a large branch broke off and flew over. This branch was lush, covered in spirit flowers and world fruits, all in astonishing abundance. With a point of his soul, the world tree branch exploded, forming a vast platform. All the power of the Taos merged into the mist. 3868. 3868. Chapter 3868, Returning once more to the origin land. The inspiration came from this world, from the origin ancestral land, and also from Lin Moyu's own understanding of the great Tao. This misty region, evolved from the world tree, contained the power of both the myriad worlds and the bone hell. Unlike the origin ancestral land, which only accommodates the world's great Taos, this misty area holds the yin and yang aspects of the entire world. It is similar to the origin ancestral land, but not the same. Feeling the roaring convergence of power, with yin and yang clashing and seemingly unable to coexist, Lin Moyu realized that if the world tree weren't strong enough, this region would have exploded long ago. Lin Moyu sent a thought, "Chaos child, little tree." Chaos child understood immediately and sent a stream of chaotic energy into the region. The world tree also retracted a root, thrusting it in like a stick and stirring the area furiously, like beating eggs. Together, they pulverized all the power within, blending yin and yang so thoroughly that conflict disappeared. Yin and yang fused, indistinguishable from each other, and the clash naturally vanished. Sensing the changes in this region, Lin Moyu couldn't help but show satisfaction. A moment of inspiration had created a region akin to chaos itself. This area now connected the power of the myriad worlds and the bone hell, becoming a fusion of the world's yin and yang sides. In Lin Moyu's view, the world he created, in terms of concept, surpassed the one he currently inhabited. Though not yet strong enough, one day it would surpass this world. The myriad worlds still had limitless potential to be tapped. With a thought, hundreds and thousands of great Taos in the myriad worlds trembled, and the power of the heavenly Taos surged forth. All kinds of great Tao power gathered in Lin Moyu's hands, at his command. Any great Tao present in the myriad worlds, Lin Moyu could easily control. The only limitation was range right now. The myriad worlds could only radiate about 1,000 kilometers. This world clearly suppressed the myriad worlds, and that was still within the world mist. Near a real world, the suppression would be even stronger. If he were on the origin continent, Lin Moyu wouldn't even want to use the myriad world's power, as it would definitely alert the world will. If that happened, the world will might awaken at any cost and kill him. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, to create a world independent from heaven and earth within a world, this is truly defying the heavens. The framework of the myriad worlds is set. Next, it's my turn. Lin Moyu abandoned his 5 great Taos, keeping only the immortality great Tao. He would use the immortality great Tao to become a Tao Lord. Although he felt that becoming a Tao Lord didn't mean much to him anymore, since he was still within this world, until he was completely free, he had to follow the rules. Comply with the rules, then break them, and finally surpass them. Great Tao power surged as the immortality great Tao shot to the heavens, stirring a tsunami in the world mist. Lin Moyu achieved Tao Lord status with the Immortality Great Tao, causing a phenomenon even greater than when the myriad worlds manifested. Life and death energies intertwined and spun, turning a region of 100,000 kilometers into a vacuum. As Lin Moyu's aura grew stronger, the affected area expanded 1 million kilometers, 2 million until it finally stabilized at over 10 million kilometers. Within this vast region, the forces of life and death alternated and collided. Even Lin Moyu hadn't expected such a massive phenomenon. The power of life was so intense that Lin Moyu saw a lush, vibrant grassland before his eyes. Under the force of life, the grassland grew rapidly, a small tree became a towering giant, then quickly withered and died. Animals on the grassland also grew at lightning speed, living out their entire lives in seconds. Then death descended, and the whole grassland rotted away to ash. Scenes like this played out before his eyes, both real and illusory. Lin Moyu was glad he had broken through in the world mist. If he'd done it on the origin continent, the destruction would have been unimaginable. Life force this intense was actually a deadly poison ordinary beings couldn't withstand it. Death force was even worse, corroding all things no one could escape. In this situation, even a great Tao realm cultivator would be instantly corroded by death force. As life and death alternated, a gray and white great Tao descended. The immortality great Tao throughout all the heavens, out of infinite living beings, only Lin Moyu could comprehend it, and only he was qualified to do so. This great Tao seemed to exist for him alone. Lin Moyu naturally stepped onto the immortality great Tao. In an instant, the world changed, and a familiar scene appeared before him. Strands of great Tao emerged before his eyes, some brilliant, while 8 others were silent. Lin Moyu realized he had once again entered the origin land. This time, his vision was clearer than before. Aside from himself, there were 20 great Taos in total, 8 were dormant, meaning their Tao lords were all in slumber. A Tao lord is hard to kill even if gravely wounded, even if reincarnated, they merely slumber and will recover in time. Of the remaining 12, 10 shone brightly with surging power, while 2 were dimmer. One was the time great Tao, its Tao lord was badly injured and had not yet recovered. Looking at the other dim great Tao, Lin Moyu murmured, the sword great Tao. Something had happened to the sword great Tao, its Tao lord seemed badly wounded as well. Congratulations, Immortality Tao Lord, on reclaiming your Tao Lord status. A melodious voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Lin Moyu turned and saw, not far away, a smiling phantom gazing at him. She was a beautiful young woman. Lin Moyu grew solemn and bowed slightly. Lin Moyu greets the Lord of Cause and Effect. The woman stood on the Cause and Effect Great Tao. She was the Lord of Cause and Effect. The Cause and Effect Great Tao was mysterious and powerful, one of the top Taos, and its Tao Lord was naturally extremely formidable. Lin Moyu had comprehended many Taos, seen cause and effect treasures, and tried to understand the cause and effect Great Tao, but in the end, he only gained some personal insight and never truly grasped it. Later, as his strength grew, Lin Moyu confirmed that the cause and effect Great Tao existed on the origin continent, but it was so thin that it was nearly impossible to comprehend. At that time, he sensed its uniqueness. Later, he acquired some cause and effect Great Tao materials and used them to summon elemental liches, merging them into the myriad worlds. Now, the myriad worlds contained only the embryonic form of the cause and effect Great Tao, still a long way to go. The cause and effect Great Tao was crucial. Without it, a world could never be truly complete. The woman smiled faintly. The Lord of Immortality has accomplished so much before even becoming a Tao Lord. I am truly impressed. As she spoke, her gaze casually drifted to the time Great Tao. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. He realized the Lord of Cause and Effect knew something. 3869. 3869. Chapter 3869. 1,000 portions of desolate beast essence. The time Great Tao can reveal the past. The fate Great Tao can foresee the future. But the cause and effect Great Tao can uncover the causes and consequences of all things. Lin Moyu's thoughts raced, and he immediately understood what was happening. He and the Lord of Time must be entangled in cause and effect. He could hide from others, but not from the Lord of Cause and Effect. Lin Moyu sighed helplessly. I truly have no choice in this matter. The Lord of Cause and Effect smiled. Of course I know. The root of this is the Lord of Time. He often tricks others, so it's only natural he'd be tricked one day. Cause and effect are always balanced. He doesn't even know about this yet, and in his current state, it'll be another 1 or 2,000 years before he wakes up. From her tone, Lin Moyu sensed that she didn't seem to like the Lord of Time. As fellow Tao lords, each should have their own path, and normally there shouldn't be conflict. Still, Lin Moyu knew not to take only the Lord of Cause and Effect's word for it. But he also didn't want the Lord of Time to find out. If he did, things would get troublesome. He had ruined a major plan of the Lord of Time, who would certainly not let it go easily. I'll take a gamble, Lin Moyu decided. He said to the Lord of Cause and Effect, I ask that you keep this secret. She seemed to be waiting for these words, her eyes curving into a smile. Keeping it secret isn't a problem, but what's in it for me? Everything must be a fair exchange. To receive, one must also give. Lin Moyu said, what can I do for you? She laughed softly, her eyes crafty. My request is simple. Once Lin Taoist is free, come help me with something. Don't worry, there's no danger. Lin Moyu was surprised she had seen that he was not yet truly free. The cause and effect Great Tao was indeed mysterious, its abilities unknown to outsiders. Lin Moyu nodded, no problem. When the time comes, just ask, and I'll do my best. Besides that, I'd like to do some other business with you. She smiled, sure, what kind of business? Lin Moyu said, I need some cause and effect Great Tao materials, and a portion of cause and effect power. She agreed, no problem. What will you trade for it? Lin Moyu replied, I don't know what you want. She thought for a moment, her voice flowing like water. I'd like innate origin treasures, but those are too rare. How about desolate beast essence? Lin Moyu said, that's fine. She tossed a ball of light to Lin Moyu. He found that the ball of light flickered and weakened in the void, as if under great pressure. Fortunately, her power was strong enough that it eventually reached him safely. When the light faded, it revealed a seed, radiating rich cause and effect power. She said, this is the fruit of my Tao, hold onto it and stay put, I'll come find you. This transaction had to be completed in the real world, so the Lord of Cause and Effect reversed cause and effect, turning their meeting into a fruit, a seed, so she could easily find Lin Moyu. She departed, and Lin Moyu stayed put, using this rare opportunity to observe the origin land. He looked at the various great Taos. Power, destruction, yin-yang, and more. He memorized all the great Taos present in the origin land, then looked toward its depths. There, it seemed to be a void, but Lin Moyu faintly sensed something was hidden. The void gave him an indescribable sense of danger. The origin land seemed divided into several regions, he was only in one of them. With his current ability, he couldn't see through it. Even with the divine runes he saw on the origin continent, he couldn't deduce anything. Could that be the territory of the great Tao beasts? Lin Moyu wondered. His breakthrough finally neared its end. As the great Tao faded, the scene around him shifted, and Lin Moyu returned to the real world. The world mist closed in again, but with a thought, Lin Moyu used the immortality great Tao to sweep the mist back 100 miles. He looked at the cause and effect seed in his hand and waited for the Lord of Cause and Effect, knowing it wouldn't be long. Sure enough, moments later, a presence descended. The world mist parted, and the Lord of Cause and Effect arrived not in person, but as an avatar. She smiled and greeted Lin Moyu, let's reintroduce ourselves. I am En Yuyan. Lin Moyu said, greetings, Taoistan. En Yuyan replied, I've brought what you wanted. She produced several items. 4 materials, a magical treasure, and a ball of cause and effect power. This cause and effect power came from En Yuyan herself. Pure and potent, using it to activate cause and effect treasures was far more effective than using his own soul power. He needed cause and effect power to use the key he obtained from the Lord of Hell. He could use a cause and effect treasure to activate it, but that was a last resort. It would never be as effective as using pure cause and effect power, especially from a Tao Lord. The 4 materials were all top-tier great Tao realm materials, and the magical treasure was also extraordinary. Lin Moyu said, Taoistan, name your price. En Yuyan replied, as I said before, desolate beast essence. She hadn't specified the amount, so Lin Moyu assumed just one portion. He took out a portion of desolate beast essence. Will this do? With a wave of her hand, En Yuyan sent the items over. Lin Moyu handed over the essence. Thank you, Taoistan. She replied, we each get what we need, no need for thanks. For Lin Moyu, cause and effect materials and treasures were rare, but for En Yuyan, they were not. For Lin Moyu, desolate beast essence was easy, for En Yuyan, it was hard to obtain. As she said, it was a fair trade. With the deal done, and Yuyan was in a great mood. Anything else, Lin Taoist? Lin Moyu asked, how can I contact you in the future? He wasn't a Tao Lord and couldn't enter the origin land at will. If he could establish contact, it would be easier to ask for help later. And Yuyan replied, just use the cause and effect seed I gave you. If you want to do more business, just let me know. Lin Moyu nodded, Taoisten, if I asked you to take action against the world will, what would it cost? And Yuyan studied him, seeming to see through him. That depends on the level. If it's at your current level, the price would be extremely high. I'm afraid you couldn't afford it. Lin Moyu asked, as the Lord of Cause and Effect, aren't you afraid of being entangled by cause and effect? And Yuyan shook her head, that's a different matter. The Lord of Cause and Effect is just better at manipulating and using cause and effect, but if the entanglement is too great, it's troublesome for me too. Water can carry a boat, but also overturn it. You should understand that. Lin Moyu nodded, then what if I asked you to help me retrieve my true spirit mark? What would it cost? And Yuyan thought for a moment, then raised a slender finger, naming her price. 1,000 portions of desolate beast essence. 3,870, 3,870. Chapter 3,870, The Grudge Fruit of All Living Beings. 1,000 portions of desolate beast essence. This price was a bit outrageous. Lin Moyu's mouth twitched. Even at his efficiency, gathering 1,000 portions of desolate beast essence would take at least several thousand years. Just one portion could be traded for many precious materials and treasures, showing how valuable it was. Lin Moyu said slowly, 1,000 portions. Isn't that a bit too much? And Yuyan explained, Lin Taoist, don't think this price is high. In fact, it's quite fair. Although I haven't seen your world, I can sense that it's already very close to the eternal level. You're also a Tao Lord, so your true spirit mark holds a different place in the world. For me to use the power of cause and effect to forcibly reverse your cause and effect, the cost is no less. If you'd asked earlier, back when you were only at the Great Tao realm, the price would have been much lower, just 100 portions of desolate beast essence. Lin Moyu gave a wry smile. I didn't expect there'd be such a difference. And Yuyan said, of course. Cause and effect is all about balance. Reversing cause and effect comes at a great cost. And from what I can see, your cause and effect is rather strange. If it were anyone else, no matter how high the price, I wouldn't agree to help. Lin Moyu raised an eyebrow. What's strange about it? And Yuyan shook her head. It's hard to say. Your cause and effect is very peculiar, and I can't see it clearly. Even the Lord of Cause and Effect couldn't see through his cause and effect. This was truly surprising. 1,000 portions of desolate beast essence was simply too high a price, impossible to pay. Then Yuyan added, your cause and effect isn't just strange, it's also extremely complicated. In my opinion, this is something you'll ultimately have to resolve yourself, no one else can help. Lin Moyu asked, then if I asked you to shatter the world will of my world? And Yuyan shook her head. Lin Taoist, you're trying to cut off my path. I haven't taken my final step yet, and you want to hold me back. Lin Moyu quickly replied, I have no such intention. And Yuyan giggled, just teasing you, don't take it seriously. But this is something no one would agree to. The world will is a very special existence, and the cause and effect involved is enormous, even we can't bear it. You saw in the origin land those 8 silent Tao Lords, 2 of them ended up that way because they destroyed 2 fully formed world wills. The cause and effect entangled them so much that even now, they've never recovered. In the end, they chose to reincarnate, hoping to clear the cause and effect and return to their peak. But after all these years, they still haven't succeeded. She paused, then suddenly froze, as if seeing something unbelievable. Her eyes nearly popped out. Lin Moyu asked curiously, Taoisten, what's wrong? And Yuyan said, Lin Taoist, have you ever killed a world will? Lin Moyu admitted, yes, I killed one once, but it was only a just-formed world will. And Yuyan said, even a just-formed world will carries massive cause and effect. You may not know this, but killing a world will brings a special kind of cause and effect called the grudge fruit of all living beings. It means the resentment of billions of living beings turns into cause and effect, binding itself to you. The bigger the world, the more living beings, the heavier the resentment. In a fully formed world, with countless living beings and even multiple eras, the resentment is so great that even we would avoid it. In a just-formed world, there aren't as many living beings, but at your current level, you still shouldn't be able to bear it. But from what I see, your grudge fruit of all living beings seems to have already been mostly resolved. How did you do it? Lin Moyu had a guess why, but said aloud, I don't know how it was resolved. When I acted, I didn't think about it, nor did I know about this grudge fruit. And Yuyan grew more curious, scrutinizing Lin Moyu as if she wanted to dissect him for study. But no matter how she looked, she couldn't figure it out. After a while, she finally gave up her curiosity. It seems my understanding of the Great Tao isn't enough. If I could take that last step, maybe I'd know the answer. Lin Moyu played along. If even Taoistan can't see why, then there's no point in me worrying about it. And Yuyan said, don't trouble yourself over it, there's likely no answer. As for your connection to your own world, you'll have to resolve it yourself. But as the Lord of Immortality, I believe you'll find a way. I'll wait for your good news. With that, she gave Lin Moyu a slight bow and left. Even as she departed, her eyes were still filled with doubt. For there to be something in the cause and effect Great Tao she couldn't understand made her feel she was a lord of cause and effect in name only. As the mist closed in again, Lin Moyu's gaze was thoughtful. What An Yuyan didn't understand, he had some guesses about. According to her, eternal beings who kill a world will receive the grudge fruit of all living beings. The grudge fruit isn't a curse or luck, but a kind of cause and effect. Once it attaches to you, it can't be removed, and your soul is polluted, making everything you do go wrong. Some eternal beings have even risked reincarnation just to get rid of it. The grudge fruit comes from the countless living beings within a world, which reminded Lin Moyu of the power of faith he'd just obtained. In the myriad worlds, all living things from cultivators to ants and bugs, to every plant and tree provided him with faith power. This faith power is the soul deep worship and belief of the world's beings in their Lord. When needed, this faith power can be a great force. But if he were killed, that faith power would instantly become the most vicious force, binding itself to his killer. That's the grudge fruit of all living beings. The grudge fruit isn't impossible to remove, but the method requires the faith of all living beings. But for those eternal beings, being called world lords is not the same as what Lin Moyu is. Their so-called world lordship is actually about cultivating a world will and becoming its master. For the living beings within the world, the true master is still the world will. So such world lords can't gain enough faith from all living things, and thus can't remove the grudge fruit. As for emperors, it's even less possible. That's why neither emperors nor Tao lords would dare attack a world will. Even against a just-formed world will, they'd be extremely cautious. The most the morning bell and twilight drum emperors did was force the world will into slumber that was already the limit. But for Lin Moyu, if he acted against the world will of the origin continent, since he is a being of the origin continent, it would count as internal strife, and he wouldn't attract the grudge fruit. That's why An Yuyan said his cause and effect must be resolved by himself. Lin Moyu thought, in that case, I can act against any world will. Helping the third ancestor and the others seize a world won't be a problem. Looks like I really am on the right path. 3871, 3871. Chapter 3871, So This is Chaos. The two words, so this is chaos. Cultivators defy the heavens, struggle against fate, and one of their most important goals is freedom. At least for Lin Moyu, this is true. Without freedom, cultivation is meaningless. And a crucial part of freedom is being able to do as one wishes. Everyone has their own vision of doing as one wishes, but it doesn't mean acting recklessly. There are always certain rules to follow. If you violate the most fundamental rules, you will be punished. That punishment may not be immediate, but it will come, sometimes subtly and gradually. Even Tao lords and eternal beings are still bound by certain powerful rules. But what Lin Moyu wants is to break those rules, to truly do whatever he wishes. He wants to stand above the rules, even become the rule itself. In the myriad worlds, he is almost synonymous with the rules. But in this world, he is still far from that. At least, his conversation with An Yuyan made him realize one thing. He can act against certain world wills without worrying about the consequences. In some ways, he has already surpassed those eternal beings, and this seems to be an important step toward true freedom. Lin Moyu pondered for a moment before turning his attention to his own changes. In this period, he had already completed his breakthrough and naturally achieved the Tao Lord realm. The immortality Great Tao circled around him, becoming his sole Great Tao. The other 5 Taos were gone, but that didn't mean he couldn't use them. There was just a range limit. Within 1,000 kilometers of himself, he could use any great Tao from the myriad worlds. Under the influence of this world, using the myriad worlds' Taos was naturally less effective than using the Taos of this world, but as the myriad worlds grew stronger, the range would expand and the restriction would lessen. Lin Moyu summoned a skeleton general and felt the aura it emitted. He discovered that the skeleton general had also advanced with him to the Tao Lord level. He then summoned a dragon rider, a legion commander, and a skeleton king. After testing, he confirmed the strength of the undead legion. Skeleton generals and dragon riders were on the same level. They didn't have the Tao Lord title, but their combat power was close, stronger than first-tier innate souls, though still a bit weaker than true Tao Lords. Legion commanders were slightly stronger and, with the power of their legions, could match branch Tao Lords. Skeleton kings remained the strongest in the undead legion, generally surpassing branch Tao Lords, but still a step below origin Tao Lords. The undead legion's growth has slowed again. This wasn't the first time. Previously, the legion's growth had slowed and was boosted a second time with Tao marks. This time, his Tao marks had been stripped and sent into the myriad worlds along with his Taos, so it was lucky the undead legion hadn't weakened. The legion used to be stronger than Lin Moyu himself, but now the roles had reversed, and he found it a bit hard to adapt. Master, Chaos Child called out in his soul. His consciousness entered the soul world. What is it? Chaos Child said, Master, I want to fuse and enhance several of your spells. Lin Moyu was intrigued. Which spells? Chaos Child replied, quite a few. Master has so many spells, they can be fused to make them stronger. Also, your myriad worlds is basically formed now, so it can be used to boost spells. I think the effect should be good. Do you want to try? In the past, the little guy would just fuse spells without asking, even if the fusion was crippled or malfunctioning. But this time, it was asking for permission. Was it because it had gained intelligence, or because the fusion might have problems? Lin Moyu felt something was off. Is this fusion especially difficult? Chaos Child hummed, it's not easy. To make the fused spells work across two worlds, there's a price to pay. I don't know if the power I've accumulated is enough. Recently, Chaos Child had been accumulating power in the chaotic world, but Lin Moyu didn't know how much. Lin Moyu said, try it, fuse as many as you can. If it doesn't work, we'll try again next time. Chaos Child trembled lightly. That won't do. This is the best time, since you've just become a Tao Lord and the world's rules are temporarily relaxed. If we miss this chance, who knows how long until the next one? The next breakthrough would be beyond Tao Lord, who knows when that would be. Even Lin Moyu, as confident as he was, couldn't guarantee he'd ever take that final step. Lin Moyu resolved, do your best. I'll have Little Tree help you. As he finished, Little Tree appeared before him. Lin Moyu said, send the power you've absorbed to Chaos Child to help with the fusion. The World Tree was also absorbing power in the chaotic world. Both were absorbing chaotic energy, though it became different after conversion. Lin Moyu thought his idea was sound. The World Tree should be able to supply Chaos Child. But Little Tree hesitated, not agreeing right away. Master, if we do this, the soul world will explode. Chaos Child added, that's right. Master isn't in a chaotic state yet and can't withstand chaotic energy. But you did create chaos during your breakthrough in the Great World. It's not strong yet, but it's usable. That chaos belongs to you, so its power won't hurt you. Lin Moyu recalled the region where all sorts of Taos were mixed and mashed together into a paste. He had thought it seemed similar to chaos, and now, thanks to Chaos Child, he could be sure that region really was chaos. So this is called chaos? Lin Moyu asked. Little Tree, is that okay? I'll try. A root shot out, split in two in midair. One part pierced the world membrane and entered the newly formed chaos region, the other gently touched Chaos Child. Using this root as a channel, Little Tree sent all the absorbed power into Chaos Child. Some power leaked, whipping up a fierce wind in the soul world. The wind was filled with endless Tao power, but since it all belonged to Lin Moyu, no matter how intense, it wouldn't harm him. Master, it's ready, said Chaos Child. Lin Moyu nodded. Let's do it, I'm counting on you. Chaos Child cheered. Don't worry, Master, watch me. It shot over to the spell stars and sprayed them with chaotic energy. Compared to before, there weren't many spell stars left. Lin Moyu felt that some passive spells could be fused, and the rest would depend on Chaos Child's performance. Chaotic energy enveloped two spell stars, immunity and damage transfer. As Lin Moyu expected, these two passive spells were the first to be fused. The chaotic energy surged, drawing the two spell stars together, and the fusion officially began. 3872, 3872. Chapter 3872, Origin Spell. The soul world trembled continuously. The fusion of spell stars wasn't happening for the first time, but this time the commotion was greater than ever before. As Lin Moyu's cultivation rose, his spells grew stronger, and so did the spell stars. The stronger something is, the harder it is to merge, which is why Chaos Child said it might not have enough power. After accumulating for hundreds of years, it finally dared to try. In hindsight, Lin Moyu thought he should have delayed his Tao Lord breakthrough a few more years to give Chaos Child more time. But the fusion has already started, there's no point thinking about that now. Lin Moyu smiled and cast aside unnecessary thoughts, watching as the spells merged. The spell stars collided, immense power sweeping through the soul world, piercing barriers and simultaneously entering both the myriad worlds and Bone Hell. The aftershocks churned both worlds like waves. Little Tree called out, emitting powerful energy to stabilize both worlds. In Bone Hell, Black Prison, the Black Dragon let out a series of dragon roars, his body growing infinitely large, supporting Bone Hell itself. Lin Moyu also took action, using his own power to stabilize the soul world. Chaos energy seeped into the two spell stars, using chaos as a bridge to fuse them together. Lin Moyu watched as the spell stars, like droplets of water, permeated each other and finally became one. The whole process didn't take long, less than 10 minutes, faster than expected. Soon, the two spell stars became one, and a brand new spell star was born. But the fusion didn't end there. Chaos Child shouted, "Little Tree, give me chaos energy." Little Tree responded, vibrating its roots and drawing massive energy from the chaos region evolved from the myriad worlds, sending it all to Chaos Child. Chaos Child absorbed this energy, transformed it, and injected it into the new spell star. With a hum, Lin Moyu sensed that this new spell star had formed a mysterious connection with the myriad worlds. It's this chaos energy. The spell star, infused with chaos from the myriad worlds, thus became linked to both the myriad worlds and Bone Hell. The three became inseparable. Lin Moyu didn't know how powerful the new spell star was, but he was sure this was no bad thing. The spell star vibrated, rumbling louder and louder. Amid the roar, a new star appeared in both the myriad worlds and Bone Hell. This was the projection of the spell star in both worlds. Chaos Child let out another surprised cry and suddenly withdrew all chaos energy. The fused spell star flew up to a high place, standing alongside two origin spell stars. Lin Moyu's heart trembled with a sudden thought: could the fused spell now be on the same level as an origin spell? Origin spells have astonishing effects, the new spell's effect might be just as remarkable. Chaos Child shouted, "Master, this one's done." Lin Moyu smiled, "Good work." Chaos Child said, "That was just the beginning, the real work starts now. Wish me luck." It sprayed out chaos energy again, this time enveloping even more spell stars. Resurrect the dead, summon Skeleton King, summon Skeleton General, summon Dragon Cavalry Legion, undying undead. 5 spells were enveloped at once. Among summoning spells, only the Elemental Lich was not included. In addition, there was a passive spell. Although Undying Undead isn't a summoning spell, it's closely tied to the Undead Legion and is its perfect match. Lin Moyu watched quietly. All 5 are undead-type spells, merging 5 into one. No wonder Chaos Child said this would be a big project. He knew the little guy could handle it, so he left it alone and studied the newly fused spell. 2 passive spells fused, how strong could it be? He probed the spell star with his soul, and information came through. Domain passive origin spell uses an independent world as a domain, greatly weakening enemy attacks. All attacks will be shared by the world's great Daos, all living beings, the Undead Legion, etc. After reading the spell's effect, Lin Moyu's soul trembled violently. It had truly become an origin spell, not just origin level, but true origin. Though only one word different, the effect was worlds apart. The effects of immunity and damage transfer were to reduce damage, but as Lin Moyu's cultivation grew, these spells became less useful. Either the enemy was too weak and the spells weren't needed, or the enemy was too strong and even reduced damage couldn't be withstood. Now, the 2 spells had merged into one, not only stronger, but most importantly, the new spell was now tied to Lin Moyu's own world. It no longer depended on the original heaven and earth, it had truly become his own spell. The independent world mentioned in the spell refers to the myriad worlds and bone hell. Attacks would be borne together by the great Taos and all living beings within the myriad worlds. Lin Moyu knew better than anyone how tough the great Taos are. Breaking a great Tao is no easy task. All living beings means everyone in the world, from every blade of grass to every hell spirit in bone hell. Moreover, Lin Moyu could designate who would bear the damage. This was his right as World Lord. The Undead Legion would also share the attacks. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt his vitality become exceptionally powerful. Even for an eternal being, it would be hard to kill him in just 1 or 2 blows. A newly advanced Tao Lord able to withstand attacks from the eternal level, who would believe it? Strong defense has many benefits. Now, even when facing powerful world lords, Lin Moyu could say, "You can't kill me." This is what it means to be a true world lord, not just a nominal one like those in the Jumu Great Spirit domain. The strong army and gathering power origin spells come from the origin bird, refined from its blood by the strong. But my origin spell was created by fusing my own spells. What does it really mean to be an origin spell? The word, origin, is mysterious. The origin continent is called origin spells are called origin, but their meanings are very different. When he first arrived on the origin continent, Lin Moyu thought origin spells were simply named after the continent, as the strongest spells in the world. Now he saw that wasn't the case. He couldn't figure it out for now, but as long as the spell was strong, that was enough. He'd figure out the rest eventually. He turned his attention back to the spells still merging. 5 spell stars collided, the power released even greater than before. Chaos Child used a nearly brute force method to squeeze the 5 stars together. But the 5-star fusion was clearly difficult. Chaos Child yelped twice, then turned itself into a giant cauldron. The cauldron's lid opened, and Lin Moyu looked down from above, as if seeing a world inside. This world was a chaotic expanse, powerful and mysterious. He remembered Chaos Child's true form was a chaos pearl, containing a world within. The cauldron swallowed all 5 spell stars and began a violent fusion. 3873, 3873. Chapter 3873, Chaos Spell. Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh in surprise. He thought that giant cauldron would never appear again, but in the end, it still did. When reason and gentle persuasion don't work, brute force fusion is the answer. From inside the cauldron came sounds like stir-frying, and the whole cauldron trembled violently. Chaos Child kept spewing chaos energy, running at full power to forcibly fuse the 5 spell stars together. The World Tree continuously drew power from the chaos region of the myriad worlds to supply Chaos Child. It was clear both little ones were giving it their all. With past experience, Lin Moyu was full of anticipation for the resulting spell. If fusing 2 spells could create an origin spell, then fusing 5 together, no matter what the result, would definitely be an origin spell. It has to succeed. At this point, Lin Moyu couldn't do anything but silently cheer them on. He realized that as the master, he was kind of useless at this critical moment. He could only shout encouragement and do nothing else. But there was no helping it. After all, they were the experts. This time, the fusion was slow. It lasted for half an hour, and Chaos Child's chaos energy grew weaker and weaker, its hundreds of years of accumulated power nearly exhausted. The World Tree was still working hard to supply energy, but the chaos region in the myriad worlds was growing thin. Lin Moyu even worried that if this continued, the chaos region would dissipate entirely. That chaos region had been created by a stroke of luck. If it disappeared, he might never be able to make it again. He had a vague feeling the chaos region was very important, and if it vanished, the loss would be immense. But at this point, Lin Moyu couldn't stop the process. He could only wait and see what happened. The commotion in the cauldron gradually diminished. The fusion was at its final stage, and it was all up to whether Chaos Child could hold out to the end. After a few more minutes, Chaos Child suddenly shouted weakly, "Fuse already." With a bang, the cauldron lid flew off and an indescribable aura surged out. Lin Moyu frowned. The aura felt somewhat illusory, both real and unreal, giving a sense of unreality. A thick mist rose from the cauldron, radiating dazzling light, condensed but not dispersing, and full of mystery. The spell star turned into mist. So is this a success or a failure? Lin Moyu hadn't expected it. He didn't get a spell star, but a mass of mist. As the mist appeared, Lin Moyu was shocked to discover that his entire undead legion had completely collapsed. Skeleton generals, dragon cavalry, legion commanders, skeleton kings, and any remaining resurrected ones all gone, not a single one left. For a moment, Lin Moyu thought the fusion had failed, but on second thought, that didn't seem likely. The mist before him gave him a sense, destruction for the sake of rebirth. Chaos Child, now extremely weak, called out, "Master, I did it. I'm going to rest for a few hundred years, see you." Without waiting for Lin Moyu's reply, it shot into the world tree's roots, heading to the chaos world to recover its strength. Little Tree also withdrew one of its roots from the chaos region in the myriad worlds, which was now nearly dissipated, leaving only a faint trace. Fortunately, the core remained, so it could slowly recover. Lin Moyu asked, "Little Tree, is Chaos Child all right?" Little Tree sensed for a moment. "It's fine, just exhausted and needs time to recover." "That was good," Lin Moyu said, "thank you for your hard work." Little Tree shook its trunk vigorously. "Not at all, we're happy to help, Master." Lin Moyu turned his attention to the brilliant mist, which now floated above the origin spell stars, seeming to take the place once occupied by Chaos Child. It had become the new king of spells. With 6 spell stars suddenly gone, the spell star area looked much emptier. The mist rose to its place and stopped, radiating dazzling light that shone on both the myriad worlds and Bone Hell. Lin Moyu moved his soul power and connected to the mist. Infinite summoned chaos. Summon undead servants in the chaos region. The number is determined by the size of the chaos region and the independent world. You can also use true spirit, soul, or corpse to resurrect the dead as undead servants. Resurrected undead servants retain their memories and strength from life. If the true spirit has reincarnated many times, the strongest lifetime will be summoned. After death, undead servants can revive on the spot, up to 10 times in a short period. If they die more than 10 times, they will regenerate within the chaos region and reset their revival count. The previous undead legion was completely disbanded and rebuilt. All skeletons were unified as undead servants. The chaos region, mentioned in the spell, refers to that area within the myriad worlds. What surprised Lin Moyu was that the fusion didn't result in an origin spell, but a chaos spell. This was the first time he'd heard of a chaos spell, and from what he could tell, it was a tier above origin spells. Let's test it. With a thought, Lin Moyu activated the spell. In the chaos region of the myriad worlds, chaos energy surged, and an undead servant appeared out of thin air. Its arrival was strange. No spatial distortion, no hint of where it came from. It just appeared in sight. The undead servant wore armor, hiding its true appearance. It didn't look tall or imposing, but the aura it gave off was at the origin Tao Lord level. The strength of the undead servant was determined by the myriad worlds. Currently, the myriad world's power ceiling was at the origin Tao Lord level, so the summoned undead servant was also at that level. As for the number, Lin Moyu looked at the size of the chaos region and, estimating based on the size of the undead servant, got a number, nearly 1 trillion. And the chaos region had just shrunk several times for the spell fusion. If it expanded again in the future, the number of undead servants could reach tens of trillions, even infinite. Combined with the domain spell's damage-sharing ability, if the number of undead servants was infinite, his defense would also be nearly infinite. It would be almost impossible to die. No wonder it's called Infinite Summon. Lin Moyu felt a trace of longing for this spell. With a thought, the undead servant left the chaos region and appeared before him. "Master." The undead servant suddenly knelt and called out. Lin Moyu looked at it. "You have intelligence." The undead servant replied, "I can have it, or not. It's all up to Master's will." Alright, so intelligence or not is entirely up to him. This ability was indeed much better than before. Intelligence is a good thing as long as there's no betrayal, the smarter the better. Lin Moyu said, "Rise. Tell me your abilities." The undead servant stood up, and information appeared in Lin Moyu's soul. Undead servant, combat power, Tao Lord. Skill, manipulate great Tao power for attacks, can use different great Taos to counter different enemies. Can cooperate with other undead servants to create even stronger tactics using the interactions of the great Taos. Can forfeit revival chances to self-destruct, with explosion power 10 times above its own level. Abilities, can change appearance, carry out any order, complete any task for Master. 3874, 3874. Chapter 3874, Undead Servant. Capable of manipulating multiple great Taos, changing form, and completing any task. Just hearing about these abilities is enough to shock anyone. Undead servants originate from chaos, which fuses the fundamental powers of countless great Taos. As a result, undead servants possess the ability to wield any great Tao present in the myriad worlds. The strength they can display depends on the relative power of each great Tao within the myriad worlds. If a particular Tao is strong, so is their use of it, and vice versa. Because they carry the properties of chaos, even when channeling the power of the myriad worlds, they can act freely within the origin continent, unaffected by its laws. The only limit to their strength is the strength of the myriad worlds itself. They possess intelligence and can complete any task. Lin Moyu experimented by having one transform into a human form, providing several people's information. It instantly completed the transformation. Appearance, build, clothing, and voice were all indistinguishable from the original. Even Lin Moyu himself had to look closely to spot the difference. With such abilities, undead servants have entirely surpassed the category of mere summons. What they can do depends entirely on Lin Moyu's wishes. After the spell fusion, the power of resurrection of the dead still exists, and is even stronger. Revived beings now become undead servants. With no time limit they can exist indefinitely. However, the combat power of a revived undead servant matches their strength in their previous life. If they reincarnated multiple times, the strongest lifetime is used as the standard. Such a spell already touches upon the true spirit itself. Lin Moyu couldn't explain how this spell works. He could only attribute it to the fact that it's a chaos-level spell, beyond reason. Origin spells are already coveted by the strongest of all worlds. An even higher-level chaos spell is bound to cause a storm the moment it appears. As for self-destruction attacks, this kind of desperate ability is even more abnormal. Undead servants are summons, not true living beings. They don't fear death. These fearless beings can self-destruct without hesitation. If one dies, just summon another. Moreover, the power of their self-destruction equals 10 times their full strength attack. Who could withstand such an assault? Lin Moyu couldn't even put into words how powerful this spell was. It was simply unbelievable. How can a spell like this be allowed to exist? Compared to the elemental lich, isn't this even more heaven-defying? Despite thinking this, Lin Moyu was in a great mood. With such a heaven-defying spell in his hands, how could he not be pleased? With a thought, he began summoning immediately. A massive number of undead servants appeared in the chaos region of the myriad worlds, their numbers rapidly increasing. Lin Moyu only needed to split a sliver of his mind to summon them. While not as convenient as the previous spell linkage, it was still effortless. With the fusion of spells, the undead legion was rebuilt, now even stronger than before. As he summoned, Lin Moyu reviewed his remaining spells. Summon Elemental Lich, Bone Hell, Corpse Explosion, Wings of Time, Curse. None of these had changed. Even after advancing to Tao Lord, these spells seemed to have reached their limit, no longer growing as before. Even the World Tree hadn't changed much, retaining its previous abilities. Lin Moyu knew that to further strengthen his spells, he would have to advance again, perhaps upon reaching the eternal level, or maybe only after taking that final step. He ignited the undying flame in his soul, transforming several cause and effect materials and treasures into elemental liches, merging them into the myriad worlds to strengthen its cause and effect great Tao. The evolution of the cause and effect Tao is difficult and its growth even harder. The materials and treasures gained from the Lord of Cause and Effect would allow for a major step forward. After finishing these tasks, Lin Moyu muttered to himself, time to get to work. He took out the key obtained from the Lord of Hell, as well as the cause and effect seed from the Lord of Cause and Effect. Using the power of cause and effect, he activated the key. A beam of light shot out from the key, heading into the distance and disappearing into the world mist. A direction appeared in Lin Moyu's soul, pointing toward a gate. Vaguely, Lin Moyu seemed to see the gate, standing in a strange region. Just seeing the gate made his soul tremble. It brought an indescribable sense of oppression, as if opening it would unleash unimaginable disaster. Yet, deep inside, a strong sense of urgency surged, a voice urging him to quickly find the gate. Break! Lin Moyu suddenly shouted. The scene in his soul vanished, and his gaze turned serious. Just glimpsing the gate from afar was enough to shake his Tao heart. This gate was truly bizarre. Looking down, he saw the key had dimmed, losing its luster. Though only a sliver of cause and effect power had been consumed, it could be used many more times. A single guidance was far from enough. To find the gate, he would have to activate the key repeatedly. Each activation required time to recover, and Lin Moyu was helpless. Whoever designed this treasure was truly devious. He put away the key and followed the direction it indicated, waiting for it to recover before using it again. There was no rushing this process. He had already glimpsed the gate's strangeness. Even the gate itself was so what must lie beyond it? This journey's outcome was impossible to predict. Lin Moyu unfurled the wings of time curse and flew through layers of mist, advancing in a straight line without delay. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. The wings of time curse drew upon the time great Tao from the myriad worlds, giving Lin Moyu 5 times his usual speed. Among newly advanced Tao lords, his speed was absolutely top tier. The myriad worlds' Taos could only reach 1,000 kilometers, but wherever Lin Moyu was, so was the myriad worlds, so traveling was no problem. In half a year, the key had recovered about half its power. By this rate, it could be used once a year. Undead servants were summoned non-stop for half a year. Later, Lin Moyu multitasked to summon even faster. Now, the number of undead servants exceeded 500 billion, fewer than before he became a Tao Lord, but their combat power utterly surpassed the old undead legion. Just 100,000 undead servants could wipe out the previous legion. After half a year, Lin Moyu had no idea how far he'd flown. Along the way, aside from the world mist, he found nothing. The real world and the soul void are very different. There's no true vacuum, only world mist everywhere. Now that Lin Moyu was a Tao Lord, he could only disperse the mist for a few thousand kilometers, no further. For a Tao Lord's speed, that's very little. A single flick of the finger could cover over 100,000 kilometers. Suddenly, a red light appeared in his vision, a sea of fire ahead. Lin Moyu instinctively stopped, but it was too late. He crashed right in. Flames rose from all directions, transforming into giant firebirds that swooped toward him. 3875, 3875. Chapter 3875, When the Snipe and the Clam Fight. The firebirds looked fierce, but in Lin Moyu's eyes, they were nothing special. With a casual wave, the power of death swept up the flames, transforming into a grey dragon that devoured all the incoming firebirds. After one strike, the sea of fire quieted down and stopped attacking Lin Moyu, as if acknowledging his presence. Lin Moyu examined this sea of fire. The area was vast, burning brightly within the world mist, driving away the surrounding fog. The fire spread to both sides, stretching as far as the eye could see. Rising above the sea of fire, he finally saw the full picture. The flames formed a massive ring, and at the center of the ring was a world. The world's barrier reflected multicolored light within the flames, and fire constantly seeped into the barrier. So this is refining a world. In Lin Moyu's eyes, the sea of fire was refining an entire world. This world felt lifeless to him. There were likely few, if any, living beings inside. Lin Moyu approached the world's barrier and touched it, carefully sensing the situation within. The world was extremely quiet and just as hot inside. The refining process was nearly complete. This world was finished. Suddenly, a message came, memories from the world itself. Lin Moyu saw a world that wasn't strong, with only 3 Tao Lords inside. One day, they faced a terrifying enemy, a giant bird cloaked in flames. It killed the 3 Tao Lords, then enveloped the entire world in fire. The world became a sea of fire, its living beings nearly wiped out. The flames then began to erode the world, intent on refining it. This world was still in its spirit-nurturing stage. Its world will had not awakened, so there would be no grudge fruit of all living beings, allowing the attacker to act without restraint. The world's beings were nearly all dead, and the world fell silent, awaiting destruction. The refining process was long, lasting over 10,000 years. Lin Moyu returned to the flames, feeling their pulsing. This fire wasn't from the fire great Tao, but a special flame similar to the world-burning fire, though much weaker. At this rate, it'll take at least another 5,000 years to finish refining this world. The efficiency is really low. The struggles between worlds are truly chaotic. The weak get bullied, no doubt about it. A world with only 3 Tao Lords was far too weak in Lin Moyu's eyes. Being preyed upon was natural. The world is just that cruel. He didn't plan to stay long and was about to leave when he suddenly turned to look into the distance. A firebird was speeding toward him from afar, billions of miles away, but already locked onto him. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. Cause and effect. He noticed lines of cause and effect emerging from his body, extending toward the firebird. This meant there was karmic entanglement between him and the firebird. But this was his first time seeing it, so why the karmic tie? Lin Moyu only had a superficial grasp of the cause and effect great Tao. Now, relying on the myriad world's cause and effect Tao, he could see a little. The cause and effect great Tao doesn't lie. If it wasn't him, then the origin continent must have karma with it. Searching his memories, Lin Moyu recalled the origin catastrophe, when the heavenly god realm and black blood realm invaded and brought their minions. He found a moment in his memories. A group of strong beings from the blazing fire realm, adept at controlling flames, had once turned large swaths of the origin continent into scorched earth, burning countless lives. But there weren't many from the blazing fire realm, and they were quickly wiped out, so there wasn't much record of them. That must be it. This firebird is from the blazing fire realm, which is why there's karma. In that case, let's resolve this karma now, and test the strength of the undead servants. The world-burning fire can also have a real feast. As Lin Moyu thought this, the surrounding sea of fire boiled, the temperature soaring as if its master had arrived, and the fire's power surged dramatically. Pillars of fire shot up, surrounding Lin Moyu. The distant giant firebird was rapidly approaching, its origin Tao Lord aura sweeping through the void. Lin Moyu was unconcerned. In the midst of the fire sea, his body glowed faintly. The domain passive spell was active, radiating a subtle origin aura. At this moment, Lin Moyu was like a black hole, absorbing all attacks. The damage was distributed across the myriad worlds, great Taos and billions of undead servants, so each one bore only a tiny fraction. The terrifying heat of the fire sea was nothing to Lin Moyu, not even enough to warm his hands. He was about to act when the void twisted and a giant net suddenly appeared, flashing across the void and instantly ensnaring the firebird. The firebird shrieked, and the net tightened rapidly, binding it firmly. No matter how the firebird struggled, the net only grew tighter. This firebird was an origin Tao Lord, yet it was caught by a net. Lin Moyu observed and realized this net wasn't a magical treasure but a spell. The net contained a power that could corrode the firebird's flames. This isn't a treasure, it's a spell. He quickly looked up and, activating the eye of the undead, saw a dazzling soul flame. A hoarse laugh echoed in the void, and a giant spider appeared in his vision. The spider was over 10,000 miles across, and it was the one that had spun the net to trap the firebird. Lin Moyu was slightly startled. The giant spider had clearly been hiding here for a long time, and he hadn't noticed at all. It was here to hunt the firebird, and Lin Moyu, an unremarkable bystander, was simply ignored by the spider. The firebird's cries grew more desperate and shrill, its flames growing more vivid. The net binding it began to weaken as it struggled to break free. The giant spider spat more webs, layering them to restrain the firebird. The firebird's flames turned from bright red to deep crimson, growing even stronger, and the surrounding fire sea suddenly flowed toward the firebird like a river. In an instant, the flames encircling the world vanished, all absorbed by the firebird. With the flames reclaimed, the firebird's aura peaked, its deep red fire nearly black, its power now several times greater than before. The spider webs were rapidly burning away, and the firebird stared at the spider with hateful eyes. Boom! The spider webs shattered, and the firebird, shrieking in fury, charged at the spider. The spider raised its legs, its whole body emitting a chilling black light, and the two clashed. That must be its natal fire. When refining a world, the firebird's own power is weakened. The spider's webs forced the firebird to stop refining the world and defend itself, ruining thousands of years of effort. The spider's goal isn't just to ruin the firebird's refinement, but to kill the firebird as well. Lin Moyu quickly assessed the situation, then pulled out some sunflower seeds and sat back to watch. A battle between origin Tao Lords was unfolding before his eyes. How could he miss such a spectacle? As for why they were fighting, it didn't matter. He'd deal with it after the fight. When the snipe and the clam fight, the fisherman profits, so there was no need for him to rush. 3876. 3876. Chapter 3876, I am from the origin continent. The spider and the firebird clashed fiercely, clearly not their first encounter, both filled with murderous intent. At this level of power, any being would possess considerable intelligence. This is a law of heaven and earth, with the exception of certain special beings like great Tao beasts. The spider and firebird were no exception. Though their battle was intense, it was highly methodical, showing they were both intelligent. Their shrieks rang out, the firebird's sharp and the spider's hoarse. These were their languages. They were communicating, but as an outsider, Lin Moyu couldn't understand. Lin Moyu was a proper spectator, silently enjoying the spectacular battle. The firebird was slashed repeatedly, flaming feathers flying everywhere. The spider didn't fare much better, burned in many places and even losing a leg. After several minutes, they finally separated with a thunderous clash. The firebird shrieked shrilly, while the spider, after a moment's hesitation, suddenly left and vanished into the void. In terms of strength, the firebird had the edge, but the spider had the ability to hide itself if it wanted to leave. The bird couldn't stop it. The ambush ended in failure for the attacker. With the show over, Lin Moyu flicked out a ball of world-burning fire. The unremarkable flame floated lazily to the world barrier not far away. Boom! The fire erupted, quickly spreading along the world barrier and enveloping the entire world. The world trembled, the barrier visibly changing as the world-burning fire not only wrapped around the world but rapidly seeped inside. The world-burning fire was far stronger than the firebird's flames. What would take the firebird thousands or tens of thousands of years to refine, the world-burning fire could do in less than a month. Sensing through the world-burning fire, Lin Moyu confirmed there were no living beings left in this world. After 10,000 years of refining, all life had perished. You're courting death. A roar rang out. The firebird glared at him, its sharp eyes full of killing intent. In just that short time, its injuries had already healed significantly. For such beings, as long as their core wasn't harmed, their recovery was astonishing. Lin Moyu smiled calmly. So you can speak. I thought you only knew how to screech. The firebird snapped angrily. Stop immediately, or I'll eat you. It spat flames, locking onto Lin Moyu but not attacking immediately. It seemed wary, sensing Lin Moyu was a Tao Lord, but unable to gauge his strength. Lin Moyu's calm demeanor in the fire sea made it feel he was anything but simple. Naturally, Lin Moyu had no intention of stopping. You're from the blazing fire realm, aren't you? The firebird snorted. That's right. Lin Moyu continued, and that spider just now. The firebird didn't hesitate. That thing's from the black spider realm. The black spider realm sounded like a world of spiders, while the blazing fire realm was for firebirds. There are countless worlds, some with humans, some with other races. Some are diverse, others single race like the black spider realm and blazing fire realm. Seeing Lin Moyu had no intention of stopping, the firebird grew angrier. I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? Lin Moyu chuckled. Aren't you just stalling for time? Your wounds are almost healed, right? Ready to fight now. The firebird was wary of Lin Moyu, and hadn't attacked because it was waiting for its wounds to fully heal, so it could be confident in facing him. Lin Moyu saw the caution and cunning in its eyes. This bird was no fool. Lin Moyu didn't mind. Refining the world would take time anyway, and if the firebird was fully healed, it'd be a good chance to test the strength of his undead servants. The firebird's thoughts exposed, it grew even angrier. Since you insist on dying, I'll grant your wish. With a soul-piercing screech, the firebird charged, flames sweeping the heavens. Lin Moyu willed an undead servant to appear at his side. Without further instruction, the servant already knew what to do. He threw a punch, forming a colossal fist that shattered the void and blasted the flames back. Power Great Tao. Lin Moyu saw that the undead servant used the Power Great Tao with this punch. Against an unknown opponent, using the Power Great Tao was always a safe bet. The firebird screeched, dodging like a teleport, leaving a trail of fire. The undead servant vanished, reappearing before the firebird with a massive greatsword identical to the Skeleton King's, sharp beyond compare. Water vapor surged on the blade. The Water Great Tao was condensed within. The servant slashed at the firebird. The firebird shrieked again, retreating and spewing flame at the servant. The servant vanished and reappeared before the bird, slashing again, forcing it back. The undead servant pursued relentlessly, swinging the water sword, each strike turning the void into an ocean, a world of water. The firebird was harshly suppressed and became extremely disheveled. Lin Moyu watched, noting that the servant's teleportation came from the Space Great Tao, and it was using the Water Great Tao to suppress the firebird. The servant's Taos came from the myriad worlds. As long as the myriad worlds had a Tao, the servant could use it. Through the chaos region, even at great distances, it could draw on the myriad world's power. The firebird was strong. After being caught off guard, it quickly adjusted and counterattacked, gradually regaining the upper hand. Flames surged, and several firebird clones appeared, each powerful, launching a group attack on the servant. Not only did it recover, it began suppressing the servant. Lin Moyu willed 100 undead servants into existence. They all used the Space Great Tao to teleport into battle, surrounding the firebird from all sides. The servants, minds linked, all wielded the Water Great Tao. Torrents of heavenly water poured down, extinguishing the flames. Water and fire are opposites. Water can suppress fire, but fire can also boil water. The key is who is stronger. 100 servants used the Water Great Tao in unison, their powers connected, instantly pinning the firebird down. The servants raised their blades, slashing apart the firebird's clones. The Firebird, startled, shrieked and tried to break out, but was blocked at every turn. These servants looked, sounded, and felt identical. It struggled to fight even one, let alone 100. It was doomed. I surrender. This world is yours, let me go. The Firebird cried out. It wasn't stupid. Faced with death, it knew what to choose. Lin Moyu shook his head. You may not know, but there's karma between us, I can't let you go. The Firebird screamed, nonsense. I've never met you, how could there be karma? Lin Moyu smiled, I'm from the origin continent. 3877, 3877. Chapter 3877, 3. Origin Continent. You're actually from the origin continent. Just these 4 words made the Firebird's feathers stand on end, its tone changing, even tinged with fear. Lin Moyu smiled. Looks like you've been to the origin continent before. How was it? Did you suffer a loss there? The Firebird replied, at the time, we had already admitted defeat. We even moved our entire world away. That matter is already over. Lin Moyu shook his head. I don't think so. The karma between us isn't severed, so it's not over yet. Rest easy. After this, I'll come to your world too, so you all can experience what it feels like to be invaded. The Firebird sensed Lin Moyu's intent and stopped begging. You'll never find our world. Lin Moyu chuckled. Finding your world is easy. I have many ways, for example, I can follow the thread of karma. It's not hard at all. Fear flashed in the Firebird's eyes. The cause and effect Great Tao was too mysterious, maybe he really could find it. Looking at the hundreds of beings around it, each as strong as itself, a trace of despair rose in its eyes. Fine, I'll fight you to the death. The Firebird shrieked, its body exploding into deep crimson flames. Its power soared, surpassing its own limits. Its aura now matched some of the world lords from the Jumu Great Spirit domain. Burn my body, ignite my soul, return to my ancestral origin. With a piercing cry, a dark Firebird appeared in the void. It trailed a huge, ornate, beautiful tail behind it. This Firebird, having reverted to its ancestral form, radiated a terrifying aura, its gaze icy cold as it spat out 3 words. Kill you. It shot forward like a flaming arrow, instantly breaking through the undead servant's encirclement and charging at Lin Moyu. With the arrow before him, Lin Moyu didn't dodge, he took it head on. He just happened to want to test his own defenses. Could this being, now at World Lord level and going all out, actually injure him? The terrifying power struck him, and Lin Moyu's body glowed faintly, origin energy leaking out, his body naturally becoming a black hole, absorbing all the attack. The tremendous force passed through his body and entered the myriad worlds. Within the myriad worlds, all the Taos rang out, and the attack was shared among the thousands of billions of undead servants. What looked like a mighty attack, once divided into billions, wasn't so mighty anymore. Lin Moyu slowly raised his hand, grabbed the fire arrow, and smiled faintly. This level of attack can't kill me. A shocked voice came from within the fire arrow. Impossible. How can you block my attack? Lin Moyu smiled. You can't even accept the truth. With a thought, all the undead servants appeared at his side, swinging their great swords imbued with the water Great Tao. Amidst miserable screams, the fire arrow shattered, the Firebird's body and bones were destroyed. Its soul was sliced to pieces, it died on the spot. Lin Moyu grabbed a fragment of its soul, and before it could dissipate, the undying flame blazed forth. He activated Infinite Summon, using the soul as a guide and the true spirit as the root, reviving the Firebird. This chaos spell, fusing 5 spell stars, did not disappoint Lin Moyu at all. The shattered soul quickly reassembled, the remaining fragments were pulled back, and the body began to regenerate. In just a few minutes, a Firebird with Origin Tao Lord level power appeared before Lin Moyu. The resurrected Firebird prostrated itself before Lin Moyu and respectfully said, Fire 3 greets Master. Lin Moyu asked, your name is Fire 3? Fire 3 replied honestly, in the blazing fire realm, I'm rank 3rd, so I'm called Fire 3. Above me are Fire 2 and Fire 1. In a world dominated by Firebirds, even the names are simple. Many single-race worlds are like this, only diverse worlds get complicated. Lin Moyu asked, how many Tao Lords do you have? Fire 3 said, there were originally 13 Tao Lords. During the origin catastrophe, we lost 7. Later, we escaped, and over the years, 3 more Tao Lords were born. Now, there are 9 left. Lin Moyu continued, how strong are they? Fire 3 said, Fire 1 is the strongest, much stronger than me. Fire 2 is about the same as me, the rest are weaker. It didn't know exactly how strong Fire 1 was, just that he was very strong enough to defeat all the other Tao Lords combined. Lin Moyu figured Fire 1's cultivation should already be at the World Lord level. He asked, "Does your world have a World Lord?" Fire 3 said, "There wasn't before, but long ago, Fire 1 received some guidance, saying he could become the Lord of the world, so he began refining the world will. But the process is very slow. He's been refining it for over 100,000 years, and it's said he's almost done." Lin Moyu frowned. Who gave him that guidance? Fire 3 shook its head. "I don't know. Fire 1 encountered someone by chance while out, and after returning, he went into seclusion. He said if he waited any longer, it would be too late and we'd all die. I asked him what he meant by too late. Fire 1 said the world will was about to take form. If he didn't speed up, we'd all die." After saying this, Fire 3 stayed quietly to the side, saying no more. Outsiders would never guess Fire 3 was a revived being, just a silent, taciturn firebird. Lin Moyu asked, "He didn't mention anything else? Like where this method came from?" Fire 3 shook its head. "He didn't say anything else." Lin Moyu knew Fire 3 wasn't lying. If it said it didn't know, then it really didn't. He thought for a moment and said quietly, "When this is over, you'll lead me to the blazing fire realm." Fire 3 didn't hesitate at all. "As you command." Lin Moyu continued, "Now tell me about your situation with the Black Spider Realm." Fire 3 said, "The Black Spider Realm is a world not far from us. During the origin catastrophe, we moved over and accidentally entered their territory. Although we quickly retreated, the Black Spider Realm was still furious and sent strong fighters to attack us. We were injured, but our top strength remained, so we weren't afraid. Once, we even wanted to invade and conquer the Black Spider Realm. But they had their world will take form ahead of time, blocking our attack, and we lost again. Fire 1 said not to rush. Once he finished refining the world will and it matured, we could settle the score with the Black Spider Realm. To erase the will of a world and become its true master, only humans with soul-stealing techniques could do that. Clearly, this Fire 1 had come into contact with the human emperor, if not directly, then at least indirectly. The human emperor gave him the soul-stealing technique, allowing him to erase the blazing fire realm's will and become the world lord. But why did the human emperor do this? Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out. Maybe after a few days, when he meets Fire 1, he'll get an answer. Lin Moyu asked Fire 3 some more questions and learned a bit about the blazing fire realm. A month later, the nameless world was completely refined, turning into a beautiful world crystal that landed in Lin Moyu's hand. He tossed it straight into the myriad worlds to be absorbed and refined. The effect of a world crystal was even better than desolate beast essence, with tremendous benefits. At the same time, the world-burning fire was fully recharged during the refining, growing stronger. 3878, 3878. Chapter 3878. To root out the grass, remove the roots. Lin Moyu stood atop Huo-san, letting it lead the way to the blazing fire realm. Every world has its own story, and the blazing fire realm is no exception. According to Huo-san, their world was born from a mass of blazing flames, into which the blood of a great being once dripped, ultimately evolving into the blazing fire realm. Their so-called return to ancestral origin refers to this great being, who is considered the founder of the blazing fire realm. In Lin Moyu's view, this explanation was unreliable. All worlds originate from the yin-yang source. This is a fundamental law of the universe that does not change. The difference lies in whether the yin and yang sources emerge together or alternate. If a drop of blood is involved, it most likely entered one of the yin-yang sources, influencing the world's evolution and thus affecting its environment and species. The blazing fire realm should be the same. The blood of a powerful being entered its yin-yang source, thus becoming their bloodline. Unfortunately, there was little memory within that drop of blood, so the firebirds of the blazing fire realm don't know their ancestor's name. They simply call it the progenitor. After several days traveling through the mist, Lin Moyu once again saw crimson flames. A world surrounded by fire appeared before him. Within the flames, the vague shape of a firebird could be seen. Lin Moyu sensed the power of the world's founder within, the blood's influence permeating the structure of the realm. Most importantly, he faintly sensed a peculiar aura. The aura of an origin spell. His heart trembled slightly. He actually sensed the aura of an origin spell from the blazing fire realm. The aura was extremely faint, without years of experience with origin spells and a soul sensitive enough, it would be impossible to detect. Could it be the origin bird? Almost instinctively, Lin Moyu thought of the origin bird. Back in the secret realm, the ghost husband had told him the story of the origin bird, whose blood was refined by a supreme being into an origin spell. This suggests that the origin bird was powerful enough that its blood would carry a similar aura. After careful observation, Lin Moyu determined that the blazing fire realm had nothing to do with the origin bird. Their appearances were different. Since there is an origin bird, there must be other beings of the same level. Lin Moyu didn't believe the origin bird was unique. Antares was taken away by the green-robed old man and sealed in a small world back then. Maybe that's when he met the ghost husband. According to him, the ghost husband was cruel but not strong enough. The green-robed old man kept him locked up, but for what purpose? And why did the ghost husband want to kill me back then, when I had no grudge with him? Thinking of the origin bird, Lin Moyu recalled some old events he still couldn't understand. The ghost husband must have been very strong, at least stronger than Lin Moyu is now. His so-called weakness was only relative to the green-robed old man. Master, are we going to attack now? Huo-san stopped outside the blazing fire realm and asked cautiously. The infinitely summoned revived ones are completely obedient, but they also have self-awareness. They're not just mindless puppets. Compared to the old resurrection of the dead, the revived ones are clearly more lively. Lin Moyu stopped his train of thought and sensed the karma. At this close distance, the karma between himself and the blazing fire realm became even clearer and stronger. The hatred spanning countless years was not over. Today, he would end it. But before that, Lin Moyu's gaze passed over the blazing fire realm and looked into the distance. In the world mist beyond the blazing fire realm, a soul flame was quietly burning. Lin Moyu said, "The Tao Lord of the Black Spider Realm has been watching you all along." Huo-san nodded. "Yes, they've always been watching us, but it doesn't matter, they can't come in. Fire Da said that once he's fully refined the will, he'll settle accounts with them." Lin Moyu was almost certain that what Fire Da had obtained was the human emperor's soul-stealing technique. The soul-stealing technique includes a method for artificially accelerating the world will, forcing it into the forming stage in a short time. But this damages the world will's foundation, making it hard to reach eternity. Of course, they would never allow the world will to reach eternity, so for them, this shortcut is a good thing. In the Jumu Great Spirit domain, almost every world lord used this method. Lin Moyu said, "Go deal with that black spider Tao Lord. I'll have 2 undead servants assist you kill if you can, or drive them off." Huo-san accepted the order and immediately charged at the hidden black spider Tao Lord in the mist, 2 undead servants silently appearing on its back to assist. Lin Moyu ignored that battle, focusing his killing intent on the blazing fire realm. Back then, the blazing fire realm's Tao Lords came to the origin continent and turned millions of miles into scorched earth, killing countless beings. Today, that debt would be settled. A dense mass of undead servants appeared, surrounding the blazing fire realm. "Leave no survivors." With Lin Moyu's command, the undead army charged in. In the real world, invasion is far more direct and brutal than in the Soul Void. This time, more than 10 billion undead were sent, equivalent to 10 billion Tao Lords attacking at once. No world could withstand that. Even the origin continent in its prime, without its world will acting directly, would be helpless before 10 billion Tao Lords. This was a massacre without suspense. Lin Moyu was the greatest executioner, the destroyer of worlds. For the blazing fire realm, this was an apocalypse. Countless undead descended like a catastrophe, slaughtering the entire world. The blazing fire realm's powerhouses mounted feudal resistance. Lin Moyu could feel the number of living beings plummeting. The world's great Taos were collapsing, one after another. Lin Moyu didn't need to act, his undead army alone could destroy the world. Suddenly, the blazing fire realm roared, the entire world shook, and a massive will began to awaken. "Who is it?" A furious voice rang out. The strongest being in the blazing fire realm, the one called Fire Da, had forcibly refined the world will and become the world lord, temporarily replacing the world will and wielding the power to rule the world. Lin Moyu said, "I am from the origin continent. I've come to sever karma." At the mention of the origin continent, the entire blazing fire realm trembled, and Fire Da was clearly frightened. Back then, he led the attack on the origin continent and nearly died there. The origin continent's strength far exceeded his expectations. He roared, "Can you spare us? We're willing to pay any price." Lin Moyu replied, "No, you don't have that right." Fire Da made a last-ditch effort. Your human race has a saying, every debt has its debtor. It was us who did it, let us pay with our lives. Lin Moyu said, we humans also have a saying, to root out the grass, remove the roots. You will die, and your world will be destroyed. Go in peace. 3879, 3879. Chapter 3879, no chance even to self-destruct. From the moment Lin Moyu made his move, he had already pronounced the death sentence for the Blazing Fire Realm. His order was to leave no survivors, and the undead servants would faithfully carry out this command. The power of a Tao Lord would sweep through every corner of the world. Not only would there be no survivors, but not even a single tile would remain. Even as Fire Da begged for mercy, Lin Moyu did not waver. Things proceeded exactly as he intended. Their karma was deeply intertwined, and this was a rare world where, even with a world will, destroying it would not result in the grudge fruit of all living beings. This was a matter of repaying hatred with hatred, grievance with grievance, exactly what Lin Moyu desired. Fire Da was already in utter despair. The world will he had forcibly refined wouldn't survive half a day. He was truly facing death. In his final moments, he still struggled in resistance. His aura surged as he returned to his ancestral origin. Fire Da drew upon the remaining power of the Blazing Fire Realm, manifesting the source of his bloodline and displaying his strongest form. The entire world transformed into a giant firebird, even clearer and more powerful than the one Fire 3 had previously become. Judging by its aura alone, it was already on par with the World Lord level of the Jumu Great Spirit Domain. It's definitely not the origin bird, Lin Moyu muttered, confirming his suspicion. The progenitor of the Blazing Fire Realm was not the origin bird, but likely an existence on the same level. But just how strong such an existence was, Lin Moyu couldn't say. He guessed it might be eternal, but it also seemed a bit different. If it was stronger, that didn't seem likely either. After all, as far as he knew, those who had taken that final step were exceedingly rare. Green robe and white robe were two, and the one in the ferrying calamity boat had only taken half a step. That step was too difficult. Lin Moyu didn't think beings like the origin bird could cross it. Roar! A soul-piercing roar interrupted Lin Moyu's thoughts. Fire Da, with the entire world, roared, since you won't spare us, let's die together. These words sounded familiar. Fire 3 had shouted something similar before. Birds of a feather flocked together, Lin Moyu chuckled. Around him, a dense mass of undead servants appeared innumerable. For the invasion of the Blazing Fire Realm, Lin Moyu had deployed 10 billion undead servants. Now, 100 billion undead servants appeared in the void, forming Lin Moyu's undead shield. Such numbers brought only despair to the Blazing Fire Realm. Fire Da's roar abruptly stopped. He seemed to realize he couldn't kill Lin Moyu at all. Even if he risked everything, he couldn't harm him. Lin Moyu's voice rang out slowly, you don't have that ability. Just die quietly, and hope for a better reincarnation next time. As he spoke, 100 billion undead servants surged forward, surrounding the Blazing Fire Realm and crushing it with overwhelming force. Fire Da seemed to have given up struggling and didn't actually launch an attack. When quantity becomes quality, the result is utter despair. Even the will to struggle vanishes. Now completely hopeless, Fire Da gave up and waited for death with resignation. Lin Moyu remained vigilant, keeping his guard up until everything was over. He couldn't be sure if the enemy had a trump card or might lash out before dying. A cornered dog will jump over a wall, a desperate rabbit will bite. The number of living beings in the Blazing Fire Realm dwindled rapidly, DAOs collapsed one after another, and the world was crumbling. A mournful wail echoed through the world, and Fire Da finally snapped out of his grief. His voice was low and despairing. I can't stop you, nor can I drag you down with me, but I won't let you have this world. The world began to shake violently, thunderous rumbles resounding. Lin Moyu frowned, sensing the world collapsing. This guy is trying to blow up the entire world. Now that Fire Da was the world will, ruling the world, it wasn't impossible for him to detonate the entire realm. 100 billion undead servants acted at once. Torrents of Tao power fell like waterfalls, weaving a great net that wrapped around the entire Blazing Fire Realm. The undead servants worked together to stabilize the Blazing Fire Realm. If Fire Da wanted to self-destruct, Lin Moyu would not let him succeed. With a wave, the world-burning fire flew out and landed on the Blazing Fire Realm. It turned into a sea of fire, quickly enveloping the world. Even if he couldn't stop the destruction completely, at least something would be left behind. Lin Moyu had a thought and issued a command. use the Time Great Tao to disrupt the blazing fire realm. Upon receiving the order, 100 billion undead servants activated the Time Great Tao, taking control of every moment within the blazing fire realm. Under their control, time in the blazing fire realm became chaotic, sometimes flowing backward, sometimes stopping, sometimes accelerating. Fire Da's thoughts were affected. He no longer knew what time he was in, and the chaotic flow of time battered his mind. Watching this, Lin Moyu murmured, "Just as I thought." Although Fire Da had refined the world will and ruled the world's power, he had not achieved precise control over the entire realm. His will was spread throughout every corner of the world, and when each region's time became different, his thoughts became confused and scattered. In an instant, he had countless thoughts and wills. The previous second, the next second, each time node brought different thoughts, impossible to reconcile. Even just 2 or 3 conflicting thoughts would drive a person mad. Now, there were thousands, tens of thousands utterly irreconcilable. In this state, self-destruction was impossible. This method would only work on someone like Fire Da. If it were a true world will, with unified thoughts, the chaos of time within the world would not affect its will. Fire Da's attempt to self-destruct was thwarted. Lost in chaos and despair, he died. The world-burning fire blazed, burning away his last will. The blazing fire realm was dead. Not a single living being survived inside, except for Huo-san, the revived one. With everything over, only time remained. The world-burning fire was refining the realm, and at the current rate, it would take just over 2 months to finish. Lin Moyu glanced at the karma. It was already very faint, not yet completely severed. He knew this was because the blazing fire realm still existed. If he stopped now, perhaps countless years later, life would once again evolve in the blazing fire realm, and the karma would continue. Only when one world is completely destroyed does the karma between worlds truly end. Looking back, Lin Moyu saw Huo-san returning with 2 undead servants, dragging a broken corpse in its claws. The Black Spider Realm's Tao Lord, killed by Huo-san and brought back. Suddenly, some information flashed into Lin Moyu's mind, coming directly from the myriad world's memories from the world that had been refined earlier. After being refined into a world crystal, some information was preserved, and when the myriad worlds devoured it, that information naturally entered Lin Moyu's mind. He glanced over it and dismissed it. It wasn't important. In the cruel world of powerful beings, the weak can only become prey, or even collateral damage. If you want to escape that fate, you must become strong. This is true for cultivators, and for worlds as well. Ko-fi.com/translate-toki. Only donate if you want to. My Patreon is now up. Go to patreon.com/translate-toki. Remove the @ symbol and type a. 3880. 3880. Chapter 3880, Omniscience and Omnipotence. The undying flame burned fiercely, and the Tao Lord of the Black Spider Realm was reborn in the fire, transformed into a spider, respectfully prostrating before Lin Moyu. At Lin Moyu's command, it thoroughly explained the situation in the Black Spider Realm. The Black Spider Realm was not a particularly powerful world. It had a total of 30 Tao Lords, but none were especially strong. The Tao Lord who ambushed Huo-san that day was already the strongest in the Black Spider Realm. In fact, even if all 30 Tao Lords joined forces, they could only barely match the strength of the dozen or so Tao Lords from the Blazing Fire Realm. However, the Black Spider Realm had one advantage: they were adept at reproduction, and their world had an enormous number of living beings. Precisely because of this, the Black Spider Realm could more quickly evolve a world will, a classic case of strength in numbers. Unfortunately, the beings of the Black Spider Realm did not realize that the world will they collectively evolved would inevitably become a malicious will. In the end, this world will might well destroy the entire era. Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Moyu. As long as the Black Spider Realm didn't provoke him again, he had no intention of destroying it. For now, there was no deep karma between them. Time passed, and the Blazing Fire Realm was gradually refined. 2 months later, the karma was severed, and the Blazing Fire Realm disappeared from the world forever. Lin Moyu felt a sense of relief. Karma itself carries no weight, but it can make the soul feel burdened. If he were in the origin continent at this moment, he would have received a reward from heaven and earth. Of course, when he returns, the reward will still be given. But by then, he and the origin continent will be locked in a life and death battle, and rewards will be meaningless. The Black Spider Realm did not come looking for trouble, and with no grievances between them, Lin Moyu didn't seek them out either. He checked the key. It hadn't fully recovered and couldn't be used for now. Lin Moyu continued flying along his original path, moving farther and farther from the blazing fire realm. Half a day after he left, the world mist began to surge toward the area where the blazing fire realm had been. In just a few days, it would fill the void, erasing the last traces of the realm's existence. Several giant spiders appeared in the void, their eyes filled with fear. What a terrifying guy. So many Tao Lord puppets, who could stand against that? He said he's from the Origin continent. I've heard of that world. Back then, the Black Blood realm and Heavenly God realm joined forces to invade it, but were utterly defeated. The blazing fire realm came here out of fear of a counterattack from the Origin continent. Karma truly is powerful. After all these years, they were still wiped out. Looks like old Nine's grudge can't be avenged. Maybe we should move too. Lin Moyu didn't know that, after he left, the Tao Lords of the Black Spider realm would come and that they were fully aware of what had happened here. Black spiders have a unique ability: they can learn about events through their companions. Knowing Lin Moyu's strength, they didn't dare provoke him, which is why they escaped disaster. As for their fallen companion, that was just bad luck. They would never risk their entire world for one individual. Meanwhile, the myriad worlds devoured the world crystal refined from the blazing fire realm, and its effects were even greater than desolate beast essence. The world crystal contained things that desolate beast essence did not, allowing the foundation of the myriad worlds to become even more robust. In Lin Moyu's view, desolate beast essence was like a mortal tonic, able to raise the level of the myriad worlds. But a world crystal was like an immortal elixir. Not only could it raise the level, it could also strengthen the foundation and grant the myriad worlds limitless potential. As the myriad worlds grew stronger, Lin Moyu's own power steadily increased, his strength becoming greater and greater. Most importantly, the power of his undead servants was also rising. While his own improvement wasn't dramatic, the collective advancement of tens of billions of undead servants was truly terrifying. As the myriad worlds strengthened, the chaos region also expanded, able to accommodate even more undead servants. Half a month later, the world crystal from the blazing fire realm was fully devoured and refined, and a stream of information entered Lin Moyu's soul. A scene unfolded before his eyes. In a void, the sun and moon sources nearly touched, standing side by side and radiating light. The power of yin and yang intertwined in the void, with great Taos emerging, evolving a brand new world. This new world was not even in its embryonic stage, it was just a mass of gas. Suddenly, the void shattered, creating a massive rift. A terrifying drop of blood fell from the rift, landing precisely in the sun source. The sun source, affected by the blood, began to change. It grew ever stronger, breaking the balance and suppressing the moon source. Flames rose from the sun source, and the temperature soared. The nascent world began to burn. Soon, the world transformed into a firebird, with the sun source dominating its evolution. The blazing fire realm was born. Lin Moyu didn't care much about the birth of the blazing fire realm, he was more interested in the fleeting existence behind the broken void when that drop of blood appeared. It was a gigantic bird, but only its silhouette could be seen. In the memory carried by the blazing fire realm, that drop of blood was unimaginably powerful, enough to alter the evolution of the sun source. The bird itself was even stronger, but the memory lasted only an instant, with no further detail. Lin Moyu could only speculate based on what he saw. He mused, that bird's blood seems to have come from another time and space, with traces of time upon it. The bird and the origin bird should be from the same place, but where is that? His thoughts turned again to the green-robed old man and the white-robed elder. Where is the green-robed old man? He doesn't seem to be in this world. Could he be in the same place as the origin bird? And where is the white-robed elder, and what is the so-called other shore, that region full of ancestral water lakes? But one thing is certain, they are not in this world. They, including the ghost husband, must have already entered another level. Yet they can still freely come and go in this world. The origin bird and the great bird that created the blazing fire realm should both come from there. The memories from the blazing fire realm gave Lin Moyu new insights into the nature of the universe. He understood how important it is to truly see and understand the world. Only by seeing through the world and unraveling all its mysteries can one truly stand above it, even become omniscient and omnipotent. Omniscience and omnipotence, that is what a true master should strive for. Just as he was within the myriad worlds, as long as he wished, nothing that happened there could escape his notice. He could even know what would happen in the myriad worlds in the future. All living beings in the myriad worlds were within his grasp. He could change a creature's fate, talent, or even thoughts. This was omniscience and omnipotence. Compared to the will of the Origin Continent or the World Lords of the Jumu Great Spirit Domain, he was far superior. But not every being's fate was known to him, there were always a few whose destinies remained a mystery. Such beings were extremely rare, countable on one hand. Even so, Lin Moyu felt uneasy about it. He hoped that one day, he could erase this discomfort and truly control everything. He flew through the world mist for several more months. The key finally recovered, and Lin Moyu activated it again, adjusting his direction as he continued onward.